with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it, let's go. Let's go, let's get it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, come on, let's do it. Nothing better than kicking it with Auntie Leah. Oh yeah. Auntie Leah is in the house. Yeah. We are kicking it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it. Come on in. Come on in now. So Auntie Leah can do a thing. Yeah.
Welcome to Kicking It with Auntie Leah. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Yamjay. Hey, Temper. Hey, Set in the West. Welcome. Please come in and like the channel, like the live, share the live, subscribe to the channel, hit your notifications button. I'm so happy to be here with you guys again. I was over at Natania's live. She has a really great live going on, doing a review of a documentary that was made by Leah Gordon. So I am happy to be here with my family over here. Let me see. I always like to start out by featuring one of the family members' short videos, not long ones, but a short video. And today, Temper gave me a video that he wants me to premiere. And it is called The Mystery Payola. So we're going to travel over to Temper's page. Please subscribe to the page. If you haven't subscribed to his page yet, he has some really good content. So right now I'm just looking for the payola video. Is it in your shorts? What's it called? Payola, right? Spooky Events presenting Decoding the Mystery of Payola. Please bear with me while I'm trying to find. Oh, here we are. Again.
The payola scandal is illegal, and it's the practice of paying radio stations to play a particular artist's song. Under United States law, it violates the sponsorship identification rules of the Federal Communications Commission, which requires any broadcast of paid material to be disclosed. As early as the late 1800s, publishers would use financial means to influence artists to sing their songs as a means to gain popularity. This illegal way of bribing DJs to promote specific songs that caused many to lose their jobs in the 1950s led to a federal investigation in 1959 that opened many eyes as to why addressing payola was silenced by publishers. It was silenced for many reasons, because payola can be given in many forms, including purchasing advertisement or paying stations to hold meet and greet, contest for bands, artists. In earlier times prior to the 1950s, public awareness was being raised as to the growing success behind the rising of certain individuals' song and its popularity. Unfortunately, this illegal way to success has left many great artists who dedicated their hard work in pioneering the path of what we have now have been disregarded and left unsung. There are many unsung musicians, composers, songwriters that have been overlooked, and it's because of manipulations as payola. How is this relevant in today's world? While the world has swiftly changed before our eyes, this illegal means still play a role in online streaming. When truth tellers speak on facts false, intel will be presented that is, misinformation or counterintelligence. After learning about this illegal practice, you can see it within the confines of content creating how influential individuals with public status would use financial incentives as payments to content creators to promote a storyline to their viewers. Promoting misinformation creates disruptions within the algorithm. This is when a number of content creators get a payment to promote the same storyline. Misinformation is a bridge that is built on deception, lies, and manipulation as viewers question the sources that you receive your content. If the source can't be cited, then you have been misinformed.
Thank you guys again. Please subscribe to Temper's channel. He does have a lot of great videos over there for us. So today we're going to dive in to our Hip Hop is a Graveyard edition for Shakir Stewart. He tragically passed away back, I think, on November the 1st, 2008. If you know who Shakir Stewart is, put one in the chat. If you do not know who Shakir Stewart is, put a 2 in the chat. While I'm up here looking like Felicia on Friday with my locks braided, you got to let them set. I'm up here looking like, bye, Felicia. Hey, Craig, can I borrow $5? Yeah, I look like I know it. Hey, Ms. Zach, what it do, nephew? Yo, Jay, can I borrow $5? I know I look a hot mess, but it is what it is. Hey, Jay. Y'all know I look like Felicia on Friday. I just need $5. It's $5. We got 5 on it. But no, guys, I'm so glad to see you guys here. I'm going to drop the link. I'm not sure if Jag wants us to get through the video first before she comes up, or if she just wants to start us off. Because, you know, she know how to set some stuff on fire, right? I want to play her song, too. The Defender of Freedom, because that's who she is. I don't care what no pros say. Only ask you for a VCR. I need $5. Craig, you won't give it to me. Who coming up with me on the panel? If nobody want to come, I can do this alone. It don't make me no difference. But I want to give Jag the opportunity to come up and start this off.
Breaking the barriers, breaking the walls, lifting the voices, making it known. She won't back down, her spirit's strong.
Okay, you can come up later. That's all good. Just let me finish my song though. I'll get right on to it.
A fearless light, justice calls, she won't turn away, leading the charge to a brighter day. When the world turns cold and shadows rise, she stands her ground with fire in her eyes, lifting the broken, sparking the fight. Defender of freedom is Jaguar right. Defender of freedom, standing tall, breaking the barriers, breaking the walls,
Hey,
lifting the voices.
you come up,
making
DJ.
it known. She won't back down.
It's equivalent to $5.
Spirit strong. storms, through the trials. She
Defender of
walks the
freedom, the Jaguar right.
path, she wears the
Hey,
miles.
hey,
With every
hey.
truth, with every stand, she builds hope with her own two hands. Defender of freedom, standing tall, breaking the barriers, breaking the walls, lifting the voices, making it known. She won't back down, her spirit's strong.
All right, guys. Give it up for Jag. All right. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Shout out to Jag. All right, guys. So I was hoping that maybe that she would come up to just kind of give her a backstory, but she's doing her laundry. She is a woman. She's not just a defender of freedom. She is a woman that must tend to her own home. You know, somebody on this internet that flies around at night that should only come out at night, but this particular bird flies during the morning, noon. She just flying 24 hours a day. She don't do that. I don't see no laundry breaks and nothing like that. But that ain't my business. I ain't the one to gossip, so you ain't hear from me. All right, who coming up?
I'm back here. Girl, I was sitting back
Hey,
here.
I thought you said you was doing laundry.
I am doing laundry and I'm bucket naked. But
Well, you know that. I
I'm
was about to say,
avatared and here I am. Defender of Freedom. I
oh,
love
well,
that. So
thank you.
I can't wait to see that visualizer video. I so can't
Me
wait.
neither.
I can't wait to present it on the channel.
Me
Because I want to
neither.
feature it this month, especially considering that this month, even though I don't can particularly care for the reason why it exists, but Juneteenth is coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That would be
I want to
wonderful.
have that visual to go with this lovely song that you've created for our community. And I want to
Yes.
feature it on the channel. I want to make sure that I have it. You know,
Yes.
I can see it as an intro or an outro, somewhere along. I see that. I see that. I
Yeah.
like
Oh, I love that song. It's a bop. It's a
it
bop for real.
is.
I
It's
can't
a
wait.
smooth, it's a stone, as the old folk, a stone cold groove.
Yes, ma'am, it is, and I can't wait. I want you to sing it live. You know you can rock it out, really bring it to life. You know that,
Hey,
right?
you know what though? For
What?
someone who's been doing this as long as I have,
Mm-hmm.
to hear something that was created for everything that I've done, I
Mm-hmm.
can't lie. I just want to
You won't
listen.
listen. Well, then just
No,
do
I
that.
just want to listen.
Then
I
just do that.
every time I hear it, it stops me right in my tracks, and it reminds me that this is the marker for this part of the journey.
Yes, ma'am.
This song is that that little etch mark on the wall of how we grew a little more. And
Yes.
I,
And we
I
keep
I'm not
growing.
saying that I won't sing it, but when I probably would maybe try to take a stab at it
Mm-hmm. When?
when we do the members only concert, because I'm
Okay.
sending it to the musical director for the band so that they can start learning it.
Perfect. Oh, man, you'll bring it to life. You'll bring that to life. For real. I'm excited for you to hear it.
It's
The freedom of
alive, baby.
freedom.
It's already alive.
I know that,
At
but
best case
you gonna
scenario, we
take it to the
might give
next
it a
level.
wing. We might give it a little wing,
Okay.
but it's got
Not the
everything
kind of
going.
the owl got though. You
Oh,
right, you
honey,
right, you
those
right.
aren't wings. Those are flappy flaps. I tell you, you
Can't
know,
nobody roast her like temper though. Go ahead.
look, and you know what? Let me know when you're serving up a drumstick so I can feed it to the dogs. Now,
Okay.
if you're cooking and you're roasting, and save a drumstick for the dog. But
Okay.
I do. I'm gonna be back and forth. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna um. But as far as Shakir Stewart is concerned, I remember him. I do. I remember
Mm-hmm.
how hard he worked to make it in New York as far as he did. He and I never had any business dealings, but we traveled in the same
Oh, wait a
circles.
minute. What the
It's
heck?
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And ain't the girl ain't nothing but the devil.
I know, right? Go ahead. I'm
And
sorry.
I don't know where Jay went because I gotta get
There
ready to
he is.
go. Oh,
There he
okay.
is.
It's that pesky
It's the
internet.
internet.
The
But
internet.
we fight through these things though. So we don't give up. We keep going.
No, no, you gotta keep on going. You gotta
Yes,
keep
ma'am.
on going. If my life ever stood for anything, I pray that it stands for keep going.
That's what we do.
No
And you're
matter
our
what you
example.
reach.
Yep.
Well, I thank you for allowing me to be one. I thank y'all for seeing me worthy as to be one.
You are.
Every
Now
Stop
day
we
it.
I wake
Stop
up,
it.
every day I wake up and I just try to stay focused in the purpose of what I've become and what I am and what God intended me to be. And thank you. Thank you all. Seriously. You're such a wonderful home base. And
thank you.
for someone who
Right.
has
Thank you.
been riddled with fake troll mods, fake
Mm-hmm.
friends, fake boyfriend, fake girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
fake best friend, fake nemesis, just faking it, fake. With all of that fake,
You
to
preaching.
get to here to this part with you guys, it made it worth it. There's a
That's
few
what's up.
things in my life now that I'm grateful for
Yes, ma'am.
because it really is the milestone.
Yes,
Now,
it is.
you gotta have a reason, man. You gotta have a reason, especially when you get up in age. You gotta have a
Mm-hmm.
reason,
That's right.
and
That's
this
facts.
community is a part of my big reason, and I thank y'all for that.
We thank you for allowing us to be a part of your community.
And I want to thank you for taking the time to look into Shakir's story. I remember when he first passed, it was like a dead chill fell all over New York that day when the everyone you could see it on everyone's face.
Yeah.
And I remember even back then thinking to myself, nobody's gonna say anything.
That was
We
really
all
sad.
thought it was Diddy. We
Mm,
all believed it
yeah.
was Diddy. But now that we're finding out the level of corruption that these people have gone to, whatever
Mm-hmm.
evidence could have been there, it's
It's
probably all
wiped.
gone by now.
It is. It's hard to find anything on him.
Oh,
They
oh,
scrubbed the net.
they scrubbed his,
They
they
scrubbed the net.
scrubbed, and it's sad because he's not here to fight for his name. He's not here to fight for his legacy.
Yeah.
I'm one of the lucky ones, man.
Yeah.
Because they've tried to scrub my life, but every time they try to scrub it, I got something else to put up on the board. And
Right.
you can't let people erase you. So I just
Amen.
want to thank everyone for coming by. I liked, I shared, I hope everyone did the same because we need to make sure that this information hits people's heads because who
Yes, ma'am.
knows, maybe a lot of things have been scrubbed, but maybe there's people who have been waiting for somebody to have real conversation about this so that they can bring some things forward that maybe nobody's
Yes.
ever seen before. That's the one
Absolutely.
thing that I'm loving about what we're doing. We're
Yep.
making people curious enough to talk about it, enough to make people who might not have spoken 10 years ago, maybe they might feel a little bit more free to speak now.
You never know, right? You never
Shakir was a
know.
good man, he was a good executive, and he really was crazy about Kim.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he
He's
was.
crazy about her,
That.
just like Kid Cudi was crazy about Cassie.
Mm-hmm. There's a pattern with that diddler. It's a pattern.
Big that well, he suffers from the affluenza and primal
Mm.
relationship rage.
Is it the ass fluenza or the affluent? I think it's the ass.
Listen to me. I'm gonna tell you something right now. If your biggest problem in life is that your butt plug is bigger than your manhood, I don't know. I
Oh,
Tootsie
Lord.
Roll.
Sister Roll, I look, I and it's so funny because I've heard these stories about him for years. But when I spoke about it, I never spoke about those things. I never spoke about the salacious things. I spoke about what was doing and what the effect was. And now that people are hearing all the really nasty details and all of the filth, floor, and filth, y'all can finally say, wow, there's a lot that Jack didn't tell us.
Exactly. You spared us, right?
Yeah, I
You
tried.
spared us.
This stuff
Exactly.
is disgusting and
Very.
depressing.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. We're
he
hearing it
wasn't.
now.
What I can say about him is that he was a straight black man.
He was a straight
There
black
wasn't no.
man.
He was a straight black man,
You
and
talking
he
about
was a good
Shakir?
dude.
Yeah.
Shakir,
Okay.
straight black man and a good dude. And you
Yeah.
know, him and Kim, that could have been something.
Really could have.
That could have been something. So
Yep.
I'm gonna let y'all get to it. I'm gonna be, by the time y'all get a little further, I should have some clothes back on.
Okay.
And
Well, at least you do. At least you're doing some laundries. You know.
well, yeah, I got some special stuff going on, so it's time for me, Anyway, but yeah, no, you every woman once a week, whether it's Sunday or Friday, should pick a day
Mm,
where you just clean everything and just get everything in order, rather than
yeah.
sitting around on the internet letting the dishes stack to the roof and just talking cash
Yeah.
money crap about a bunch of people you don't even know. So,
Yep.
or begging for donations, for
So
failing
Make it rain, make it
inventions
rain.
to live little
Wayne
house on the prairie. Honey,
running money
honey,
grabs because she got a
listen
strike.
to me. I can't stand the rain against my window. Keep that rain over there.
Woo!
Look,
That is
child.
hilarious. Sick of it. Because the
Well,
paperwork keeps taking my channel, and I didn't. I'm gonna be in the channel of the dip that I'm gonna do. Make it
oh
rain. Oh,
God,
shut up.
I don't
Money
know.
grab.
But I'm glad that her and Lady Targaryen are friends again. They both need one.
I don't like her. I don't. I've never had so.
Yeah,
They can be
neither did
friends.
I.
Yeah.
Ain't it funny? She didn't either.
Yeah.
It's funny how all of
It's,
this.
yeah. Exactly. Let's see how long it lasts.
I tell you, kumbaya. They should market kumbaya and sell it on YouTube. It'd be a hot commodity. I
Yes.
see y'all guys in a bit. Love you,
All
Miss
right.
Zach.
All
Stay
right,
with
guys.
Zach.
Jay Mizak.
That's
All
the
right, Jay. We'll
Fizzac.
see you
All right, cool.
soon.
Salute.
All right. It's always a pleasure to have Jack on the panel, spitting
Yeah.
that wisdom. So the video we have is a little lengthy, so let's go
Oh,
ahead and get into somebody else coming up. You said, what did you say, Jay? You say anything?
nah. I haven't
Okay.
even seen what you about to show, so I'm eager to watch it.
Oh, it's the I have to show what I could find. I mean, it was not a lot out there, guys, but it was. Wait a minute. Stop it. Stop playing and let me present you first. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Let me present, share the
All right.
screen. We need to
First, let me
react to
say
this as
that
well.
Auntie's hair is looking all fresh. I see you
You know
looking
I
all
look like
proud over
Felicia.
there. Who?
Let me get $5. You know I look like Felicia.
Felicia, I get it now. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, you get it now. Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
But let me get $5 first. You know I look like Felicia. It's all good. You gotta do your locks like this so they can grab the pattern after you get it retwisted and washed. You let it dry. You twist it up. You let it dry like this. So when I take it down, it's crinkly. Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. without further ado, let's go.
That's
A
Mo
lot of
3.
shit goes down at the Big T, but why was Mo in Oak Cliff that day? I don't know. Why did they blame Yellow Beezy? I don't know. Truth is, Boosie had a lot to gain by watching Mo 3 move around. Maybe that's why they shot him over there at the Big T after the wake. A lot of shit goes down at the Big T, but for Boosie to get shot, I guess that's why Mo 3 got shot right over there. I guess that's why I couldn't stay in Dallas. I had to get out to watch Mo 3 be assassinated, executed, running for his life down this highway in the middle of the day. Like, it was this time of the day. Look how busy this is. And somehow, he was forced to stop his car. Someone stopped their car as well, got out the car. He saw them, he must have recognized, because he turned and started running down the highway in the middle of the day. And they shot him in the back. This make any more sense than the Tupac shit? How the hell was there enough time on a busy highway like this at this time of the day? Who does a shooting in the middle of a highway? See, in the middle of the day. And still no answer. It's always too hard to solve a rap murder. Another graveyard.
Fair use, fair use. That is our
Well, from
official.
an R&B standpoint, of course, you got. I mean, start off with Jermaine, Rico, Dallas. You know, Dallas is doing everybody from Shakira to Janet to. I mean, Dallas is doing everybody from a pop standpoint. Now with this whole crunk music scene, it's really keeping it going with Lil Jon and DJ Tumber coming in and doing. You still had the heavyweights in the city like the Usher Raymonds. TLC just they're about to put out a greatest hits album. But the Atlanta music scene is crazy right now. It's really driving the urban scene, you know, domestically. Like, it depends on their points. Let's say they were getting 50 cents off every dollar. They got 50 cents off every dollar, and I don't know the actual dynamics of their deal. If they getting 50 cents off every dollar, and they just went platinum on the last album. So if you say if a CD, let's just say on the average of a CD costs $15. You sell 1 million records, that's 15 million records. If they were getting half of that, 50 cents on the dollar, that's 7.5 million that they were making on that. You know, so, and I'm just kind of running the numbers out there too. That's not including the money they spend for marketing and videos and everything else. But it all depends on the deal that you have structured. But Lil Jon and them, they're geniuses right now. Crunk music is controlling clubs from New York to Compton, Seattle to Miami. You know, so it's crazy right now. The Atlanta music scene, you can come and get it all. With Tricky now doing the first single for with Brittany Madonna. He's about to start working with Madonna now.
Now, who's Tricky?
Tricky's the head of the CEO of Red Zone Entertainment, another Atlanta-based company. He had Blue Cantrell and Soleil signed him through a couple of his situations.
Okay.
And the writer Tab, his main writer and partner, is a client of mine here at Hiccup. This right here, nobody knows. In fact, whatever years this was, I think 98, 99, if I'm not mistaken, was the BMI Song of the Year. It was a country hit on Kevin Sharp, and it was a #1 hit on Tony Rich at the time. So that generated a lot of money for us. This was Don't Let It Go. Organized Noise produced this on the hit group In Vogue. And that was also the main title song for Set It Off.
Just to give you a little background, this is Shakir Stewart. This is actually the only video out there that I can find of him actually speaking. So we can kind of get to know who he is, how he articulates himself, his mannerism and things of that nature, because I actually have never heard of him until like after he passed away. So I thought it was important that we at least see him when he was, alive and in his prime. I think he was working for Arista Records on this one. I'm not sure, but prior to him working for Def Jam, he worked for Noontime Music, Hitco Music, and Hitco Music Publishing, and Arista Records. All right, sorry about that, Jay. You here? Okay. And Arista Records, and his first person I believe that he ever signed was Beyonce, and I believe the second, I'm not sure, I don't know. The first person he ever signed was Beyonce, and then he signed Sierra. So he had two major women in the game that he signed. He also signed Rick Ross and Jeezy. And he's going over, I think, like I said, I think he's at Arista Records, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So let's just continue. Got anything to say? Anything to add, Jay? Not right now?
No, I kept getting kicked out. I don't know why StreamYard keeps kicking me out.
I'm not sure. Are you on Chrome? Try Chrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on Chrome.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'll try.
So that's In Vogue Organized Noise produced that. Back in my bed, which was Drill. Raphael Brown penned that record for them, and that was a big hit for Drew Hill.
Okay.
And you got No Scrubs here at TLC. Shakir produced that, and I did like 5, 6, 7 million worldwide as well. So. He's from was one of them. There's a lot of blacks. We're just doing just individual things. There's songs we have music on. Dent did a song on there. He looked at the Rough Riders upstairs. Organized Noise produced some things on there. This is what the In My Bed record for Raphael Brown. The In Vogue record for Organized Noise was up there. This is the 1 million plaque for the single for Waterfalls. I mean, the single sold 1 million. Crazy. So that's crazy for it. TLC, the Waterfalls album did like 11 million. That's just US or worldwide? Really? That's US. Worldwide, it did like 15 million. Well, from an R&B standpoint, of course, you got. I mean, start off with Jermaine, Rico, Dallas. Dallas is doing everybody from Shakira to Janet to. Dallas is doing everybody from pop standpoint. Now with soul crunk music scene, it's really keeping it going with Lil Jon and DJ Tumber coming in and doing. You still had the heavyweights in the city like the Usher Raymonds. TLC just they're about to put out a greatest hits album. But the Atlanta music scene is crazy right now. It's really driving the urban scene. It depends on their points. If they were getting 50 cents off every dollar. They got 50 cents off every dollar, and I don't know that the actual dynamics of their deal. But they getting 50 cents off every dollar, and they just went platinum on the last album. So if you say if a CD, let's just say on the average of CD costs $15. You sell 1 million records, that's 15 million records. Then you get half of that, 50 cents on the dollar. That's 7.5 million that they were making on that. So, and I'm just kind of running the numbers out there too. That's not including the money they spend for marketing and videos and everything else. But it all depends on the deal that you have structured. But Lil Jon and them, they're geniuses right now. Crunk music is controlling clubs from New York to Compton, Seattle to Miami. So it's crazy right now. The Atlanta music scene, you can come and get it all. We're Tricky now doing the first single for with Brittany Madonna. He's about to start working with Madonna now. Now who's Tricky? Tricky is the head of the CEO of Red Zone Entertainment, another Atlanta-based company. He had Blue King Trail Soleil signed in through a couple of his other situations. Okay. And the writer Tab, his main writer and partner, is a client of mine here at Hitco. This right here, nobody knows. In fact, whatever year this was, I think 98, 99, if I'm not mistaken, was the BMI Song of the Year. It was a country hit on Kevin Sharp, and it was a #1 hit.
Okay, family. I think that he just mentioned Hitco Music Publishing. So maybe this is where he's employed while he's doing this interview. Sounds like they had some major people that was happening with them as well. So let's see. Anybody have any questions? If not, we'll just get right back into it because the video is very informative. It's very informative.
Hit on Tony Rich at the time, so that generated a lot of money for us. This was Don't Let Go. Organized Noise produced this on the hit group In Vogue, and that was also the sound, the lead, the main title song for Set It Off. Set It Off. So that's In Vogue and Organized Noise produced that. Yeah, In My Bed, which was Drew Hill, Raphael Brown penned that record for them, and that was a big hit for Drew Hill. And you got No Scrubs here with TLC. Shakespeare produced that, and I did like 5, 6, 7 million worldwide as well. So there's a lot of blacks. We're just doing just individual things. The songs we have music on Dent did the song on there. It looks at the Rough Riders upstairs. Organized Noise produced things on there. This is with the In My Bed record for Raphael Brown. The In Vogue record for Organized Noise was up there. This is the 1 million plaque for the single for Waterfalls. I mean, the single sold 1 million. So that's crazy for it. TLC, the Waterfalls down to like 11 million. That's just US or worldwide? Really? That's US. Worldwide, it might be like 15 million.
Shakir Stewart was born on April 12, 1974, to Portia Montgomery Stewart and Kenneth Stewart. Raised in Oakland, California, he was born an only child. His parents divorced when he was 2, but his father remained involved in his life. His mother embraced Afrocentrism, and when he was around 5, she married Aubrey LeBrie, an attorney heavily involved in the local Black Power and Black arts movements. Through this marriage, Shakir gained a stepsister. In his teen years, his father would have a daughter. Shakir, nicknamed Shake as a child, was recognized by those he met for his focus and flair early in life. Shakir's father, Kenneth, was a fine dresser, and Shakir styled himself accordingly. He was infatuated with the Bay Area's emerging hip-hop scene, with West Coast rap pioneer Richie Rich being an early influence too. Rich said, "He was always fresh. He was the same as a youngster. When Ralph Lauren was hot, he had every color polo." He spent much of his free time hanging out with his godbrothers Raheem Smith, known as Max, and Herb Smith, the sons of one of his mother's best friends. Herb introduced him to the New York hip-hop scene.
My God, I work hard on these videos, and I ain't got time for CapCut and YouTube and this internet to be messing up my smooth transitions. No, ma'am, I don't appreciate that shit, Mark. Not Mark. This ain't Facebook, my bad. Whoever owns YouTube.
Shakir was unique in that he appeared to fall in love with business as soon as he did music. His friend Festo recalled that Shakir carried a briefcase instead of a book bag in elementary school. His mother enrolled him in an all-boys Catholic school, with him coming into his own at St. Mary's College High School. In the 1980s, Oakland was changing, as all major American cities were. Smacks recalled, "Shakir definitely was a product of the streets. That's one thing that's unique about Oakland. Regardless of your financial status, you always end up dealing with the streets because there's not much separation. People who got money live on the hill, but you got to come off the hill." Shakir, seeing a wide spectrum of the Black American experience, enhanced his ability to present art with nuance and authenticity. He started to learn more about the music industry through his childhood friend Sean Granberry. Sean is the nephew of Thomas McElroy, who along with Denzel Foster makes up the duo that created In Vogue and mentored Tony. Shakir and his friends would visit their studio, and McElroy noticed that while other kids were fascinated by the celebrity, Shakir was more focused on how the studio functioned. Shakir was also ready to start making his own money, so he and Sean started throwing team parties in the Bay. They were able to draw a crowd of 2,000, charging $5 a head. By 1989, he had picked up work as a club promoter too.
Listen. Didn't we just have an argument or a conversation on Odell's West Side channel, where he basically, him and Jag, well, Jag was saying Philly, and I agree with that, but he also was inserting about the West Side. Shakir Stewart was a major player, and he is from the West Side. He's from California. So there you go. Odell's argument has been substantiated by this evidence right here. And that's probably why Diddy didn't like him, because he was from the West Side. We said till we die. I'm just saying. I'm not from the West Side, y'all. I'm just playing. Midwest till I die.
But he knew how to influence people at school as well, with him being elected senior class president and serving as president of the California statewide Black Student Union. His ability to negotiate across sectors would be a trait that would define his life. After graduating from St. Mary's, he enrolled at the historically Black Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. His college years were remarkable, but also marred by tragedy. In junior high school, he fell in love with a girl from the Bay named Markel Lenore. Although they had their breakups and makeups as kids do, people around them noticed they had something special. She enrolled at another HBCU, Hampton University in Virginia. While driving to Atlanta to visit him, she tragically passed away in a car accident. His friend Sean said, "We had all, growing up, had seen this as his soulmate. They were connected in some kind of way. Everybody saw it. That affected him. He was really heartbroken." His godbrother Smacks also said that messed him up. That was real devastating to him. Shakir seemed to manage his grief by focusing on work, but he continued to honor Markel. Throughout his career, he kept a picture of her in his office.
I want you guys to really pay attention to what just happened. It was a young lady that he felt like was his soulmate, right? He really loved her, and she tragically lost her life on her way, a road trip to see him. It devastated Shakir so much, right? That throughout his career, he continued to keep a photo of this young lady on his desk throughout his entire career. That could be the beginning of when things took a turn mentally for him. I'm not sure, but that's a thought, right? Hey, Odell, you got anything to say right now, or you want me to keep playing? You just let me know when you want to interject your wisdom. Okay.
All right, yeah, I'll chime in a second.
Okay.
I'm just listening.
All right, we're gonna get back to it, guys. But just keep that in mind. This is a major turn in his life. Even his friends and family said that it really affected him. Think about that. You're going into adulthood. You're in your 40s. You still got a photo of this young lady in his office. Do you think that maybe he thought it was his fault? I'm not sure.
Shakir started throwing parties in Atlanta. He struck up a friendship with fellow future music executive Kenny Burns, and with Kenny being a student at nearby Morris Brown, the two teamed up to dominate the local college party scene. Shakir also worked with Rico Wade of Organized Noise. He and other Oakland natives that had made their way to Atlanta, Chris Hicks, Ryan Glover, and Henry Nooney Lee, formed Ivory Coast Entertainment, an event promotions company. Shakir began to promote concerts for artists like Scarface, Nas, and Too Short. But Shakir didn't forget the reason he came to Morehouse. Richie Rich recalled, "He was always assertive about going to school. He kept his head in the books. I remember going to Atlanta for Freaknik 93, and some of the guys he hung out with lost focus during the time I was down there, but not him. He hung out, but he ain't missed no classes either." He graduated from Morehouse with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing in 1996. After college, he used the profits from his work as a promoter to again team up with his cohorts from Ivory Coast Entertainment. They purchased a recording studio and started a music production company called Noontime. They quickly assembled a stable of producers, which caught the eye of Sean Puff Daddy Combs. His label, Bad Boy Records, was seeking a new identity.
And here comes the devil himself. Tootsie Roll.
After the loss of the notorious B.I.G. Several noontime producers became a part of Bad Boy's in-house production team, the Hitmen, such as J-Dub. Noontime then entered into a co-management agreement with Bad Boy Records. Soon, Noontime was finalizing a partnership with Epic Records, but as the deal was closing, Shakir found himself squeezed out. It is unclear what exactly happened, but whatever it was, it didn't destroy his relationship with Noontime. He and the remaining founders would go on to do business together over the years, as you'll hear.
Wait. I got something to say. Do y'all know who else like Tootsie Rolls? You remember that video I made about the owl, how Jag took her down and told her to shut up? What the owl do at the end of the video? Did she take the Tootsie Roll pop from the kid? And all the kid wanted to know was how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll pop. And the owl devoured the Tootsie Roll.
Greedy mother.
Suspect owl.
More about in this episode. When reminiscing on Shakir, Chris Hicks said, "He was a real ally. We had a healthy competition, but we were also there for each other." It wasn't long until another power player in the industry noticed Shakir. LaRonda Sutton was the general manager of Hitco Music Publishing, founded by music impresario Antonio L.A. Reid. LaRonda saw Shakir had a pulse on the youth and asked him about joining Hitco in an A&R position. Shakir didn't know much about publishing and years later revealed he didn't even want the job. But he accepted the opportunity to meet L.A. Reid and the two clicked immediately. In L.A.'s memoir, Sing to Me, my story of making music, finding magic, and searching for who's next, he said, quote, "We hung out a few times. He was easy to like, a cultural kind of guy, always had a one-liner. I told LaRonda to bring him aboard," end quote. And just like that, Shakir was the creative director of Hitco. LA provided thorough on-the-job training, and Shakir caught on quickly. LA said, "I liked him from the beginning. As the company started to grow, I started to see he was really talented and exceptionally charismatic." One day, Matthew Knowles, father and then manager of Beyonce, approached LA about Beyonce securing a publishing deal with Hitco. LA told Shakir to make it happen, recalling, "Shakir jumped all over it. He developed a close rapport with Beyonce."
Y'all, look at Beyonce. Look at Bad Breath Bay. She still ain't got no goddamn banjo. Where your banjo? Sick of her ass.
And her father started placing the songs and handled the account.
The sign of a great executive is if you assign them a superstar project and you never get a bad phone call. Then you know they're doing their job.
My phone never rang once with Shakir on the case. He would become one of my closest associates. So to really understand Shakir's impact, let's talk about a few of the responsibilities of a music publisher. A music publisher manages the artist's musical copyright, ensures proper compensation, often referred to as splits, and secures licensing to radio, TV, and film. The publisher also tries to get the song placed with a preferred label or artist. Shakir explains to Billboard, quote, "At the end of the day, my job is to make the right decision in placing a song. I have to find the best home, best artist, and best label for a song so that it can get the maximum exposure it deserves." As Shakir's career blossomed, his persona became his own legend. Standing at 6'1", his personality and wardrobe made him a staple of the nightlife. Jermaine Dupri said, quote, "Every party I ever had, Shakir was there. That was mandatory for me to make sure my man came to my party because I wanted to see what kind of suit he had on. He was basically Flavor Flav when it came to them parties." In 2000, L.A. Reid was appointed hostile situation because Clive Davis was nudged out of the seat. L.A. needed reinforcement and hired Shakir as A&R for LaFace and Arista. He also promoted Shakir to general manager of Hitco and later senior vice president. Shakir was young enough to be L.A.'s son, but L.A. acknowledged their dynamic was unique, saying, In a strange way, he was a mentor to me. He was my gateway to youth culture, and I was his gateway to what we'll call mature refinement. So I would tell him what kind of house you needed to have, and he would explain to me what kind of bottle you needed to hold when you're in the club. Much of the research in this episode comes from a profile Vibe magazine did on Shakir in its December 2009 issue titled Death of a Salesman by Linda Hobbs. It is some of the finest journalism Vibe has ever done, but the article is incredibly hard to find now. Fortunately, I have a copy. In this profile, LA identified 7 men who were his music industry sons: Shakir Stewart, Diddy, Dallas Austin, Jermaine Dupri, Usher, Tricky Stewart, who is not related to Shakir.
I just want to stop it right there and just acknowledge like all of the big players that he had, and he was, in charge of, in contact with, he was overseeing. He basically touched a lot of huge names in the industry. So yeah, this is interesting. Interesting. What happened?
Is that Maya?
You're here. Go ahead.
That's Maya, right? No, I'm saying it. That looks like Maya.
It looks like
Yeah, that's Maya.
Yeah, it looks like Maya.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's get back into it.
And the now late Rico Wade. But when L.A. Reid married in 2000, a family feud broke out. L.A. Reid exchanged vows with the former Erica Holton. The glitterati of the music industry arrived in Capri, Italy for the 3-day event. Puff Daddy had caught wind Shakir and his ex-girlfriend Kim Porter were dating. After the ceremony, Puffy confronted Shakir in his hotel and broke a chair over his head.
Something that I came across that said he had every room in his house recorded. Mm-hmm. So he had a lot of documentation on a lot of very influential people doing things or put in very compromising positions. I mean, do you know that to be...
It's in my book. I said that.
He was doing this 15 years ago.
I was telling you, yeah. I said it in the book, how he when he tapped, he had it on Kim Porter, and then he had it on the phone. Got to read the book. In the book, and it said that Shakir had called Kim and said, I think it was don't quote me on it, but it was the words in the book. I think it was, how are my kids? And he was like, how are my kids? He's calling Puffy kids his kids. Because, I think that Kim and Shakir may have had something may have been going on, but, Shakir was like that, so I knew Shakir. Yeah. He's a fly guy. Yeah. So it was a problem. And then they had a fight at L.A. Reid party. Him and Puff threw a chair at him. And then
Puff and Shakir, right?
Yeah, Puff Shakir. He threw a chair at him at it was L.A. Reid's wedding. I believe he was getting married. And then that was their beef. But you asked the question. What was that question one more time? I want to make sure I answered it.
Just as it relates to him taping everything.
Oh, taping, yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he has a lot of documentation on a lot of very powerful people, which is seemingly why I keep hearing this Epstein comparison.
The incident left Shakir in stitches, and Puffy allegedly threatened.
That was interesting. He said he keeps hearing the Epstein comparison. Jay, Ms. Zach, do you guys got anything to say about that? What is the Epstein comparison with Diddy? I didn't have time to look it up, or I would have.
Maybe the Epstein.
You can look it up later.
The Epstein connection in regards to just how Puff ran and basically had footage of everybody. And that's what he was talking about, the Epstein connection. Mm-hmm. I think that's what he's talking about. Puff had image. I mean, Puff had everybody at his events, and I'm sure he had everyone maybe in some uncompromising position. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Yep. Nefarious, just nefarious and nasty.
Threatened to end Shakir's life. According to several of Shakir's friends, LA quickly diffused the situation, as Shakir and Puffy both worked for him, but others say tensions lingered. For context, remember the power paradigm of the industry in the early 2000s. L.A. Reid co-founded LaFace Records with Kenny Babyface Edmonds, which was distributed by Arista Records in 1989. As L.A. transitioned from being a composer to a full-time executive, he fielded marquee acts like Toni Braxton, T.O.C., Usher, and Outkast. A January 2001 profile of L.A. Reid in New York Magazine illustrated the loyalty between L.A. and Puffy. Puffy heaped praise on L.A. for facilitating the meeting for his fledgling Bad Boy Records to be distributed by Arista in 1993. As L.A. sought to move up the music industry food chain, he touted being the conduit between Bad Boy and Arista as one of his finest achievements. When Puffy was asked in a New York profile how he felt about LA now being his boss, he responded with his legendary hubris. Get that.
Okay, guys, I asked Google about the comparison between Diddy and Epstein. And in addition to what West has already told us, it says people have drawn comparisons between Sean Diddy Combs and Jeffrey Epstein due to the serious allegations of sexual misconduct and exploitation that have emerged against both figures. Here's a breakdown of why these comparisons are being made. Allegations of sexual misconduct and exploitation, just like what Odell said, abuse of power and influence, which we all knew from the beginning when Diddy was Diddy bopping all in the videos, all on the stage, fake ass favorite play, can't dance, we knew back then that he just wanted to be seen. And so basically he was abusing power and influence. So thank you for that, Odell. This just substantiated what you just told us, and I appreciate you for your feedback.
The F out of here. I'm my own boss. He's my partner. The Puffy and LA connection runs much deeper, but to put it simply, Shakir was in an awkward position. Shakir's mother, Portia, had a more ominous view of the situation. In a May 2024 expose in Rolling Stone, she recalled her concerns, saying, quote, "That's when I said you need to get out of this business. This man is crazy." Were Portia's words simply those of a worried mother, or was Shakir more transparent about his apprehension with his mother than with his friends? Being that Shakir seemingly pledged blind loyalty to LA, one has to wonder how he internalized the incident. When speaking on the Shakir-LA dynamic, Kenny Burns said, quote, "Shake seems to have been infatuated with L.A. Reid. He idolized L.A. That's one thing I never understood. Not saying that L.A. is not worthy of being admired, but Shake was definitely into dude." Shakir was maturing alongside.
Oh, crap.
Got that retarded? You're playing drums. I'm sorry, go ahead. Every time I see Chicken, I just remember that guy playing. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Too hilarious. I don't know how I did that. I apologize, guys. I'll get back to it. I apologize. I do not know what happened.
That was good. Who was doing that? Who was doing that on Shakir Stewart? That was a good breakdown. Like that was really good.
Right, but
Yeah,
Ticket
he
wasn't
hated that.
involved. Ticket was not involved, though. You feel me? Ticket was not involved. So, do you guys still see the video that I was playing, or do I need to represent it?
I saw it.
Are you guys
I think you might have to represent it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You could represent it
Yeah,
though.
I
Yeah.
don't know what happened. There we go, guys. My apologies. Auntie is kind of, leave me alone. Here we go. I was going to say something. That's why I wanted to pause it, but I lost my thought. I'll get it back.
I'm over here
That's
learning how
one
to
thing I
change
never
that phone.
understood. Not saying that LA is not worthy of being admired, but Shake was definitely into dude.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Shakir was touring alongside his artists.
I just want to tell you guys that Shakira's nickname is Shake. So that's why you hear her calling him Shake. When she says Shake, she is referring to Shakir. That's what I want to tell you.
Beyonce and Usher. He had a strong feel for their strengths and the new territories they could conquer. One day, hit co-songwriter E. Poppy presented Shakir with a song he wrote with Usher in mind called Dangerously in Love. Shakir heard the song and felt it would be a better fit for Beyonce. She loved the song and it was placed on Destiny's Child's Survivor album. And of course, Beyonce so loved the song, she revised it again for her solo debut album of the same name. But perhaps his highest risk and highest reward under Hitco and LaFace came on Usher's fourth studio album, Confessions. In 2003, a relatively unknown songwriter named Sean Garrett signed to Hitco. Sean took a Lil Jon beat and crafted the demo for a song called Yeah. Shakir immediately knew the song was a hit, but Usher was insulted when he heard it. Usher was trying to solidify himself as a premier R&B singer of his generation, so he felt the song wasn't a fit. L.A. Reid was also nervous it lacked the refinement he wanted Usher to have. Yeah went through several tweaks, but Shakir remained steadfast. Yeah needed to be the first single. The risk paid off. We won't come close to listing all of Shakir's accomplishments as an A&R and publisher, but between 2003 to 2004, music he handled spent at least a total of 53 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. During Shakir's tenure, Hitco became the #1 boutique music publisher in the world. Shakir also signed Sierra, a protege of Jazzy Faye, who was also under the umbrella of his old friends at Noontime. But just before Usher's Confessions was released, L.A. Reid was fired after the parent company determined he underperformed. L.A. took Shakir and several other friends to Miami with him to reset after his ouster. He and Shakir were driving down to the famed Biltmore Hotel when L.A. received an offer to serve as the chairman and CEO of the Island Def Jam Music Group. It was an easy yes for L.A., but he was warned Def Jam was more of a street label. For context, the Island Def Jam Music Group was a unit that housed Island Records and Def Jam Records. Island Records is more rock-oriented, and Def Jam, of course, is a hip-hop institution. In L.A.'s book, he described the first time he walked the corridors of Def Jam, saying, "As I walked around the floors, the office felt dangerous, unruly. There were a lot of gang colors. There was definitely sort of a crime syndicate feel, far from my world. My music was always polished, not sugar-coated candy pop, but not street. There was an edge to the physical space that was unlike any other office I'd been in," end quote. The backlash to LA's hire was swift, and LA again wanted Shakir as reinforcement, but Shakir's life had changed. In 2002, he and his girlfriend, Michelle Rivers, welcomed a baby girl, Michaela. Michelle, a native of Long Island, New York, and daughter of former NFL player Jamie Rivers, met Shakir in 1996 while a student at Spelman College. According to Shakir's god brother Smax, she was the first woman he had feelings for since losing his childhood sweetheart. Now, I know some of you might be hearing these dates and saying, now wait a minute. Well, by Michelle's own admission, Shakir was a playboy. Still, she says he was a dedicated father. In the 2009 Vibe article, Michelle recalled their tension.
The narrator is Black American News. This clip actually comes from her channel or their channel. I'm not sure if it's an authentic voice or if it's AI. I'm just not sure of that. But that's where this clip comes from.
I could tell AI voice.
Awesome. It's authentic. Yeah. Perfect.
Around Shakir taking the Island Def Jam job, saying it was his decision ultimately, but it was a battle. When you make records, you're gone all the time. When asked why he took the position, Michelle felt Shakir took the job out of loyalty to LA. She said, Shakir and LA were close. I mean, extremely. If you ask people who was allowed to stay at the house in the Hamptons, who stayed in his office until 2 a.m. every night, who did he tell his secrets to? That was Shakir. But Smacks remembers Shakir was cautious about the move, saying he was excited, but he was also apprehensive. Growing up, Def Jam was always a big label, but it's also an East Coast label. People didn't know he was from Oakland. All they knew is that he lives in Atlanta.
West Side.
Whatever his reservations, Shakir was on board as VP of A&R for Island Def Jam by the fall. Even with the move, LA and Shakir were still attentive to the talent on the face. Shakir selected the song he thought would launch Sierra, Goodies, and he was right. It was another Sean Garrett tune and reinforced the emergence of Southern sounds in the mainstream. Shakir loved hip-hop but preferred working with R&B because he saw R&B as more lucrative. That all changed one day in 2004.
Okay, family, I'm going to pause it right here real quick I want to point out, because I keep hearing Island Def Jam. I'm like, well, what's the difference between Def Jam and Def Jam? So
it was the subsidiary. I think that,
the Island Def Jam music group was an American label. Okay, a subsidiary of just the regular Def Jam. It says it was created or formed December 31st, 1998 by Universal Music Group. Before 2014, IDJMG, which is the Island Def Jam Music Group, encompassed labels originally established under the umbrella of Island Records and Def Jam Recordings. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I just know of just Def Jam and Russell Simmons. I had no idea that he had branched out. It makes sense though, because even Suge Knight was trying to do Death Row East before Pop got taken out, which is probably one of the reasons that he did get taken out, allegedly. Let's get back into it.
His old friend Noonie, via Jazzy Faye, gave him a demo of a rapper named Young Jeezy.
Yes, that's Kelly Price. Young Jay.
Shakir played Young Jeezy's music for L.A. Reid and wanted to sign him. But according to L.A., Shakir warned him, quote, "Young Jeezy's from the streets. I don't know if you really want to get mixed up with him or not." Jeezy was being courted by several labels, but he was confident in Shakir, saying in his book, Adversity for Sale, You Gotta Believe, quote, "He was a special dude. He just had that energy about him that you see a lot on cats from the Bay. Like, he was the type who walk in and immediately light up a room. He was funny, flashy, and cool, and he really knew music." Young Jeezy went to the Def Jam office, and after an impressive audition, LA gave the green light to sign Jeezy. LA told Jeezy, quote, "First of all, I'd like to sign you to Island Def Jam. Whatever you're doing, stop. I got you from here." As optimistic as Jeezy was about Shakir, he waited to sign to Def Jam. Let's talk about some of the factors. Jeezy had a creative detour and briefly joined the group Boys in the Hood. Diddy was developing his Bad Boy South roster and was looking to make a southern version of NWA. Kim Porter suggested to him that he add Jeezy to the group. During this time, Jeezy was gaining a loyal following with his mixtapes, but he decided to toy with the idea. Boys in the Hood started to catch fire, and Diddy began pressing Jeezy daily to sign with Bad Boy South/Atlantic. Another issue that popped up was Jeezy's association with BMF, also known as Black Mafia Family. In Jeezy's words, quote, "First things first, I was never a BMF artist, and I never did a deal with BMF Entertainment."
Okay, guys, I want you guys to really pay attention to the fact of what she just said, that P. Diddy, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, but it is showing the hell ain't love, but he was started to pressure Jeezy, tried to put pressure on this dude while he had already made up his mind who he wanted to sell with. Diddy is just nefarious. I wish I had that clip. I'm going to find that clip where he said, and excuse me, all my other ethnicities in the chat that are not African American. I don't like really using the N word, but I gotta use it. But Diddy declared that he was the freest nigga in the world. That didn't age well, did it? But just pay attention, because the story is about to come up, and this individual that they're going to bring up is nameless. But I know who it is, and I'm pretty sure you guys will too.
I know a lot of people assume that's what was going on, including a lot of people in the crew, but that was never the case. We were always our own separate entities, end quote. Jeezy considered BMF co-founder Demetrius Big Mish Flannery to be like family. But according to BMF entertainment rapper Blue Da Vinci, BMF was hoping Jeezy would sign to their imprint, which would in turn allow them to get the label deal they had been longing for. In Jeezy's book, he recalled an incident while at Big Mish's stepfather's house. One day, when I was still going back and forth with Def Jam on the details of the deal, I was over at the house and this New York cat who used to run with them asked me to come downstairs.
New York cat. New York cat, allegedly.
He had a reputation for being a wild dude, and I'd heard enough stories to know he earned it too. When we got downstairs, he threw a Louis Vuitton duffel on the pool table and said he wanted me to sign with BMF. I was like, man, I appreciate it, but I'm good. He unzipped the bag. There must have been something like $2 million in cash in there at least. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, he said. We want you to sign with us. I started looking for the exits, any loose pool cues lying around, anything that might give me an advantage. Of course, I had that thing on me, but I didn't want to take it there unless that's where it had to go. I stood firm. I'm saying I appreciate what you're talking about and all that, but I've got this Def Jam situation going on, and I'm planning on doing that. I knew he was about that trigger play, and I could tell he was getting hot. Like I said, I'm not asking, he said through his teeth. You're signing with us, end quote. According to Jeezy, he had invested millions of his own money to start his rap career and didn't want to sign with anyone else. Shakir successfully signed Young Jeezy to Def Jam under Jeezy's own imprint, Corporate Thugs Entertainment. The vibe.
All right, fam. Who do you think this nefarious East Coast want to be thug is that's trying to force Jeezy to sign? Who came up in this man's face and said, oh, I'm not asking, I'm saying, I'm telling you. Who do you guys think that is? What about you, Stat? What you think? Who you think this wannabe thug punk? Who do you think he is, Stat?
Give me a second. I'm cooking right now.
I think Set's on a break. So yeah, I also think it's Diddy. I was asking, who do you think this East Coast thug is that's trying to force Jeezy to sign with him?
Either Puff or Jay. Either I think it's just one of them two.
One of them. I agree. All right, guys, let's get back into it, guys. Thanks, Set and Mizak for their input. I agree with what they said.
Our article describes Shakir making the move as a delicate situation, but he got it done. Jeezy also signed a one-album deal for Boys in the Hood, and the group's album and his solo debut album were having scheduling conflicts. This situation was handled without Shakir, with Jeezy, L.A. Reid, and then Def Jam president Jay-Z sorting things out with Diddy. Young Jeezy's debut album, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, was released in the summer of 2005 and went on to sell over 2 million copies. Perhaps Shakir's biggest contribution to the album was convincing Jeezy to release Soul Survivor. Jeezy was weary of the song because he feared it was too commercial, but Shakir knew it was a hit. The song ended up being Jeezy's first top 5 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. It wasn't long before Jeezy was back in the studio working on his follow-up album. One night in 2006, while he was recording in Miami, Shakir stopped by and they later hit the club. The night quickly went left. Jeezy recalled, quote, But as we headed to our section, I saw Blue Da Vinci posted up with some of his people, and I just knew it was going to be a problem. It wasn't that we had beef exactly. It was more so that he was just on that list of cats who I knew was feeling some type of way because of everything that had been going on. And then that was especially true with him because for BMF Entertainment, he was supposed to be the one. And even though I felt I'd done everything I could to help him out, for whatever reasons, the music thing wasn't really working for him, and it was for me. So if you ask me, that's where the static was coming from. And as we were leaving the club, some words were exchanged, and the next thing you know, everybody was out in the street in the middle of this big brawl. I'm so sick of people playing with me. There was no way I was about to back down, and then Cass started letting them things go. I'm talking firecrackers right there in the middle of South Beach like it's nothing. Shakir, Jeezy, and 2 other guys in a vehicle with them were arrested for weapons possession. Jeezy claimed the weapons belonged to Shakir and another passenger. Whoever owned them, Jeezy was charged with possession of both.
Wait a minute. Did Jeezy snitch? Jeezy snitch? Now he a street dude. He ain't supposed to be snitching, but that's what I just heard. She said Jeezy claimed that the weapons belonged to Shakir, and the other dude. Jeezy out there snitching, y'all.
Sounded like it to me.
After the case against Jeezy fell apart, Shakir pled no contest to the charge and received probation. Jeezy released his second album, Thug Motivation 102, The Inspiration, in 2006, and he largely credited Shakir for the sound of the album. Shakir started looking further south for talent. He told L.A. Reid about a Miami rapper named Rick Ross. L.A. recalled the first time Shakir played Hustlin', saying, "In 2006, while we were vacationing together with our families in Saint-Tropez, he played me a record called Hustlin' by a rapper named Rick Ross. It was such a definitive record, I didn't need to audition him or even meet with him. I just relied on another great."
Y'all remember? Oh my God, who did that? Ticket.
Miami rapper named Rick Ross. L.A. recalled.
Cut it out. I forgot what I was about. Oh, I know what I was about to say. Y'all remember what Jonathan Oddie said about Rick Ross?
Yep.
Power bottom.
I remember when.
Yep.
I remember when Puffy first got introduced to him, and he was talking to him, and he was online. And Puffy was like, "Oh, Rick Ross," he was licking his lips. I was like, "Ugh, what man talks about another man and licks their lips like that, yo?"
Right. Bend it over, daddy. I like it when you lick your lip, daddy. Shut up, Diddy, shitty like Diddy. The visual. I don't even want to wake up. I wouldn't even want to dream nothing about it.
Called the first time Shakir played Hustlin', saying, "In 2006, while we were vacationing together with our families in Saint-Tropez, he played me a record called Hustlin' by a rapper named Rick Ross. It was such a definitive record, I didn't need to audition him or even meet with him. I just relied on another great record man and his recommendation, and Shakir signed him." In less than a year, Shakir had reinvented himself as a gatekeeper of Southern hip-hop. And by the fall of 2006, he had been promoted to Senior VP of A&R for Island Def Jam. Shakir, of course, was approached by other companies, but according to his god brother Smacks, quote, "He was very loyal to LA. People offered him money and tried to cause dissension between them, and he never wavered." Shakir worked on other projects at Island Def Jam. He worked alongside Jay-Z to spearhead Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad and Graduation from Kanye West. He also served as a governor on the voting board for the Recording Academy, the organization that presents the Grammys. When songwriter and producer The Dream decided to pursue a career as an artist, Shakir, alongside fellow music exec Karen Kwok, made it happen. When The Dream was asked about the start of his singing career in a 2022 interview with GQ, he said, quote, "I told Def Jam execs Shakir Stewart and Karen Kwok about the idea of even becoming an artist, which happened just out of thin air. There was no pre-plan for it. Her and Shakir were like, all right, cool, bet." Also in 2007, his family expanded. He and Michelle welcomed a son named Sebastian. Michelle described Shakir as attentive during both pregnancies, saying, Shakir went to every doctor's appointment. He was very calm during Michaela's delivery and birth. With Sebastian, he was more nervous. He cried the first time he held each of them. Michelle was never fond of the music industry, and despite Shakir being a legend on the party scene, she didn't go to the clubs with him either. They enjoyed more traditional date nights, dinners, movie dates.
You guys know what? Do you see the stark resemblance of this woman that he was engaged to compared to the woman that lost her life that he deemed his soulmate? The resemblance between these two is crazy work, guys. Crazy work. He never married her. Yeah. But he had children with her. It's just, yeah.
Dates and the like.
I think he was looking
when
for
asked
her.
how she learned to accept the dynamic, she explained she saw Shakir as the family man and Shake, his nickname, as his alter ego. She said, I used to look at it like you have Sean Combs and you have Puffy. One of his favorite places to shine was Las Vegas. L.A. Reid said, we used to go to Vegas to gamble, and Shakir would pop so much ish to the dealers and waitresses, he would draw a crowd wherever he was gambling. But those closest to Shakir knew he was deeply insecure. Although he was still young, he did not seem to evolve past the need to party. His godbrother Smacks asked him why he couldn't stop. According to the Vibe profile, Shakir answered, quote, Smacks, I got to be honest with you, man. Sometimes I'm just not happy. I don't like to be alone.
Yeah.
His mentor, L.A. Reid, was going through his own identity crisis. His son, Aaron Reid, became a teen sensation of sorts when his episode of MTV's My Super Sweet 16 became a pop culture moment in 2006. L.A. recalled one time hanging out with Aaron and Usher in East Hampton, and a group of youngsters completely ignored him and Usher to get Aaron's autograph. When L.A. went to the Super Bowl in 2007, several young girls referred to him as Aaron Reid's father. That's when L.A. had enough. He wrote, quote, on one hand, but on the other, it kind of got to me. It might sound petty, but it touched a nerve because, in truth, I was struggling a bit with not getting recognized for what I'd accomplished. A part of me had begun to worry that perhaps I was fated for a behind-the-scenes role in life. It had been that way for me all along. Babyface's partner, Pebble's husband, Usher's producer, and now Aaron's father. Even as chairman of Island Def Jam, I took a back seat to Jay-Z. I was still itching to leave my mark in some definitive way on the music business and have my deed acknowledged. I had to
Ooh, Lord, Jay-Z ugly. My God.
Hey, Margie.
overcome criticism and doubt when I took over both Arista and Def Jam, and even after I turned out massive hits at both companies, I did not feel the respect I earned. For basically my entire adult life, I had experienced nothing but success in the music business. My fingerprints were on some of the biggest records of the day, but I did not feel my recognition matched my accomplishments. L.A. Reid had a major chance to prove himself when Jay-Z resigned.
Guys, I want you to pay attention to what L.A. Reid said. He said he feel like that he hasn't proven himself or given no one has given him the accolades for his accomplishments. I think that's what he said. It was something like that, but just pay attention to that. Put that in the back of your mind as we continue with the video.
All right. Salute.
You got
Temper.
anything to say? You want to add? Okay.
In December 2007.
Okay.
Shakir later revealed he was surprised by Jay's departure, but Jay-Z filled Shakir in on the projects pending on Def Jam's calendar for a smooth transition. During one of their conversations, Jay-Z told Shakir he was too smart to run Def Jam and should consider starting his own business that would have global reach. Shakir relayed this conversation to his childhood friend Sean Granberry during one of their visits to Las Vegas. Shakir brainstormed a concept called Hip Hop TV, which would be a global hub for hip hop culture. Shakir knew that hip hop was a driving force in global commerce, but boardrooms rarely had anyone from hip hop culture developing the concepts. So creators would have the opportunity to upload music, television shows, movies, or other ideas that would then be vetted and potentially parlayed into bigger opportunities. In a world before Instagram and TikTok, hip hop TV was a novel concept. The new year, 2008, came in and Jay-Z's seat will remain vacant for months. Some people thought Shakir was the obvious choice, but LA didn't see it that way. Shakir's calendar was jam-packed for the first quarter. He co-executive produced Rick Ross's sophomore album Trilla and worked on Janet Jackson's project Discipline. He also signed girl group Electric Red. He ventured into TV, co-executive producing the BET reality series Brothers to Brother, a show chronicling the boy band Brother. He was also instrumental in...
Anybody else think that was Barack Obama? I thought that was Barack Obama in the middle of that picture. I swear to God.
That was Barack
DJ Khaled's We the Best record label signing to Def Jam. He also signed Karina Pacion. L.A. Reid continued to mull over names to replace Jay-Z, but he couldn't think of anyone he deemed qualified, so he didn't choose an actual replacement. He says he did the job himself because he had learned enough from Jay-Z. Instead, LA opted to promote Shakir to Executive Vice President of Def Jam while retaining his responsibilities of Senior Vice President of A&R for Island Def Jam Music. Shakir wrestled with the idea, driving around with the contract in his car for 2 weeks. After he signed, he told some people he felt like he had made a deal with the devil.
Shakir did articulate what was wrong with him. He just didn't say it in the words that everybody knows.
The crap out of
when
me.
he looked in the mirror, he saw somebody different. He did not see himself. And when he woke up that night and said, "I sold my soul to the devil," he started to see.
This is what I don't get and I can't get. This is what I couldn't find anything on. Why did he say he sold his soul to the devil? That is a very powerful statement. What do you guys think he means by that? Anybody know what he means
he got
by
his
that?
man
Anybody
card
on the
taken
panel?
away?
Anybody in the comments? Well, Jack said that he was a straight man, but hey, but the thing is that you can.
I think his
still
girl
be a
said he
straight
looked in
man,
the mirror
right?
and he couldn't identify himself. So what you think about that?
Yeah, you remember what Terrence Howard said, right? They can't look at themselves anymore. They don't see themselves the same anymore.
How could you? Right.
And who do you think it was? If this is allegedly, if this is what it was, that he had to exchange something to obtain something, who do you think the violator was? Y'all think about that as you continue to listen to the story. It's one person to come in mind. And unfortunately, it's probably not who you guys think it is. But let's just see. I want to hear you guys' opinion.
But you think he gave up his first girlfriend?
As a sacrifice, possible, as we're learning about sacrifices. Yes, Jag. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly who's in my mind. Yes, ma'am. So something happened to make him, he was already like in a depressed stage, right? He carried this young lady with him, the first, his soulmate, with him throughout his whole life and career after he passed away. He got a look-alike, but she wasn't good enough to be this young lady, even though she bore his children. He never married her. Let's just get back into it. Keep that in mind. Jack, me and you on the same page. I see you. But guys, keep listening.
LA and Shakir were adamant Shakir was not replacing Jay-Z, but that didn't stop publications like Billboard from saying differently. The media reaction to the hire was mixed, with some going as far as considering Shakir a surprising pick. LA said, quote, "While some people thought that he was Jay-Z's replacement, he wasn't. Shakir was many things, but I didn't want to put that kind of pressure on him. I had come to rely on him in so many other important ways," end quote. Shakir's promotion was officially announced on June 3rd, 2008.
Wow. Okay. A kid from East Oakland ran Def Jam. And just a normal kid, from East Oakland, rose
100.
at the age of early
100%,
30s
Jack.
to run the top hip hop label in the world. Now, who could do that? Go to the street corner, talk to this cat. This how the deal gonna go. Wow, 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 wow. And then go to the boardroom and explain how the investment would make sense. Very few people got that skill. And that's what really made Shake special.
Thank you. Now, unfortunately, L.A. Reid is in Atlanta tonight paying his last respects to Shakir Stewart, whose recent tragic death took away one of the lights of our world.
Shakir didn't kill himself. Shakir didn't kill himself. That's all I got to say on that.
Horrible police work. Horrible police work was done around his death. And everyone just accepted that it was suicide. Anyone that really knows the man knows he's incapable of killing himself. It had to be something more to it. It goes a lot deeper than what we would ever understand.
Shakir loved L.A. And I think L.A. loved Shakir too. But something fishy happened somewhere along.
Check what he just said. Shakir loved L.A. And L.A. loved Shakir too. Here's my opinion. That L.A. really did love Shakir. But Shakir wasn't into that. He may have exchanged
Where you going,
something.
Nancy? Where you going?
I'm just saying. He may have exchanged something to sustain his career status. But he like Jack said, he was not a gay man, which messed with his mind. What did Terrence Howard say? Y'all remember? It messes with their mind. They don't see themselves as a man anymore. It haunts them. It taunts them, right? But from my opinion, I think that L.A. Reid, a little bit more into Shakir. Let's get back into it, guys.
Yeah, Rich know what's up.
On that line, and shit got switched up.
You know, I guess you could say there's probably a bunch of other stuff that we'll never know. The BMF stuff was rumored. The stuff about LA, ain't no telling what else he was going through. People trying to, I know there was talk that some people was trying to kill him or that he knew information.
He was being followed. Cars parked outside his house. His phone was being tapped.
Yes, Jay,
a lot of people in a
yes.
position to gain, maybe not gain financially, but definitely gain. So who knows? It's still up there. I would like to know.
If I do find out what happened, it's gonna be some more dead bodies. Tell him that. Yeah, tell him I said that.
But not long after the promotion, LA noticed a change in Shakir while they were on a flight to Las Vegas. LA said on the plane to Vegas this time, he caught a text about something. I never knew what.
Guys, peep the arm. Peep the arm. Peep L.A. Reid's arm. How he has his arm around his waist. Peep Shakir's body language.
Yeah, I even noticed that. Yeah, where's his
Peep
arm?
the body language. He's like, dude, get off me. In his mind. But L.A. Reid is like, dude, come here. That's just how I'm seeing this picture.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
I feel you on this. Yeah.
What? And I saw him go dark. After the plane landed, he told me he couldn't stay. Shakir said, I've got something I've got to deal with. I've got to go. Shakir immediately returned to Atlanta. According to LA, things didn't return to normal. He said, quote, the next time I saw him, things weren't right with him. He seemed like he was trying to be the person he had been, a strange imitation of the guy I knew. Something was troubling him. I never knew what it was. End quote. Jermaine Dupri, who by this time was the president of the Island Records Urban Music Division, noticed a change as well. He said, quote, I felt like something was going on differently in his life. He wasn't being the same guy. He had become a darker, more in the office executive. One of Shakir's joys was being in the studio with this artist, but his new position called for more office responsibilities. Apart from other obligations, his personal assistant, Dina Marto, could tell Shakir was different, saying he definitely wasn't himself. I just took it as he was very, very stressed out. When Dina asked him what was wrong, Shakir responded, it's a lot going on. Dina also says Shakir was sometimes working from 6 in the morning to 3 a.m. at night, and she would have to remind him to eat. In all the years Shakir worked for Island Def Jam, he never officially moved to New York. He kept an apartment in Manhattan, spending 4 days a week in New York and the other 3 in Atlanta. Now with more power, people changed the way they treated Shakir. His friend Jaha Johnson described it, saying, now people got a different agenda when they talk to you. It's not just, can you listen to my music? It's, you control the check. You can change my life. Shakir shifted his work style. He was more unavailable and entered and exited the Def Jam building through a back door. He instructed his assistant Dina not to tell anyone where he was or what he was doing, not even his closest friends. And when traveling out of town, he began using an alias when he checked into hotels. Shakir also hired a personal security detail. And things were crazy with the label roster, particularly young Jeezy. Shortly after Shakir was promoted, BMF member Rafi Sims by Jeezy was a part of their crime syndicate. And Jeezy was convinced he was next. In Jeezy's book, he said, I really don't know how I managed to avoid getting caught up. In July 2008, the highly respected publications Crane's New York Business ran a feature on Shakir. He made a statement that proved haunting, saying, in Atlanta, it's all creative, but I'm in a completely different frame of mind in Manhattan. Around this time, he purchased a 6-bedroom, 7-figure home in the Avignon subdivision of Marietta, Georgia. But according to the Vibe profile, there had been an incident at his previous home. Sources allege a break-in occurred perpetrated by some street dudes he met at work. In the same article, Michelle denied.
Let me ask you guys something. What street dudes did he meet at work? Only street dudes that I've heard him mention was
You
Jeezy
just took that from my brain.
and his crew.
I was thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Street dudes at work?
Jeezy them. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, yeah. So could it been that allegedly L.A. Reid hired Jeezy and his team or street dudes to basically try to scare Shakir, stalking, because Shakir wasn't giving that up no more? Allegedly, I don't know. That's what we're here for. We're trying to figure it out. Could be J too, Mayat. You right.
This incident happened. And there were other alleged incidents. According to his godbrother Smacks, quote, somebody from this crew snatched Jeezy's chain and they wanted Shakir to get it back. It was also alleged Shakir ran into a scuffle with some street dudes in New York, but no one could confirm who they were. Friends noticed around August he was not partying as heavily and mellowing out. As if the professional anxiety was not enough, he received crushing personal news. He was highly upset to learn that the man he considered his dad was not his biological father.
Okay, guys, that is 3 tragedies that we know of, but we don't know what's happening in between these tragedies. First tragedy, he lost the love of his life, right? Second tragedy, he basically had to exchange something for his new contract in his new position. that really changed his mindset. Third tragedy is the man that he thought that was his father for decades. He found out was not his father. Crazy work.
Shakir shared the news with his friend and fellow music executive Sean Tubby Holiday, telling him, quote, "I feel like I've lost my identity."
Wow.
The revelation gnawed at Shakir up until his passing. His godbrother Smacks knew how distressing the news was to Shakir and went to check on him the weekend before Shakir passed. When recalling the visit, Smacks said that messed him up. That was a big part of his sadness because Shakir was big on family. In September, Michelle asked him why was he acting so strange. According to Michelle, quote, he said he just had to figure it out, that he had to get a handle on work. So I just tried to make life a little more easier and not complain so much about him being gone, end quote. The couple tried to find some normalcy, and Shakir proposed to Michelle when they visited the island of St. Thomas on October 12, 2008. But less than a week later, on October 18th, his friends were shocked by his paranoia at the BET Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta. While Kenny Burns was at an after party, he heard someone calling his name. When he searched for the voice, he realized it was Shakir, who was hiding in a dark corner. Kenny said, "It was scaring me. Shake would have never been in a corner at no MFN party. He would have been with me, jumping up and down on the couch with some champagne." Jermaine Dupri became increasingly alarmed, saying, "I'm looking at it like, what is going on? I couldn't understand it." On October 25th, going back to the visit from his godbrother Smacks, Shakir vented about the decline of the music industry, namely due to illegal downloading and the recession. Smacks said, quote, "He was just trying to get out. He saw it wasn't fun anymore. He was just an exec on paper, but they didn't give him everything he needed to be successful. They basically said, get the results, make it happen." Jeezy spoke with Shakir around this time and noticed he was, quote unquote, acting a little different. Sean Tubby Holiday spoke with Shakir 4 days before he passed. Tubby said, "I felt like something was wrong. Shakir was out of it. His speech was slurring. He wasn't the energetic, vibrant Shake that I know." On October 29th, Shakir sat in senior staff meetings. The next day, October 30th, remains in controversy. Shakir had a long meeting with L.A. Reid, with some saying it lasted up to 3 hours.
Guys, this is 2 days prior to his passing. He passed away on November the 1st, 2008. And they're speaking on a meeting that he had with the L.A. Reid on October the 30th, 2008. Pay attention.
Hours. L.A. shared his version of the day in his book, writing, quote, "Shakir came into my office and sat down, nervous and fidgety. His hands were shaking. He kept trying to tell me something. He was moving his mouth, opening it like he wanted to say something, then he closed it again, unable to get the words out. He looked like he was exhausting himself to say something that he couldn't get out. I was concerned. Everything raced through my head. Is somebody bothering him? Does he have pressure I don't know about? Are there financial issues? What is this?" He left my office without saying anything. Later, I went to his office where I found him staring off into space and tried to hold a conversation. "Whatever's bothering you, let it go," I said. "Take a break. Just let it go. You can take a break. We're fine. You're doing fine. I got your back. There's nothing to worry about. If you need some time, take some."
Question. Why would he say we're fine? Why would he say we're fine? There's something that a predator would tell someone that they violated, that they see that they're spiraling out of control. They would input them or incorporate themselves into their trauma. Why would he say we're fine?
some time. He simply shook his head and went back to work. In an episode of TV1's Celebrity Crime Files, Shakir's stepfather Aubrey gave a drastically different version of events. Aubrey alleged LA demoted Shakir during the meeting and informed him he would be based out of Atlanta full-time. LA tried to engage with Shakir later on in the day with one of their favorite pastimes, partying. LA said, a few hours later, I reached him on his cell phone and asked him if he wanted to go to Mariah Carey's masquerade party with me. He met me at the office, and as we drove downtown to the club, he seemed more at ease than he had been earlier. We listened to some music. He loved Morris Day and The Time. In fact, Shakir had conceived Electric Red as a modern-day all-girl version of The Time. At the party, he appeared relaxed, subdued, a little quiet, but at least he could talk. We drove back to my place together, listening to Prince, and shook hands as I left the car. Shakir said, that is just jamming. LA responded, I'll talk to you tomorrow. LA says that was the last time he saw Shakir. Now, many of the details offered regarding Shakir's last weekend come from the Vibe article. The next day, on October 31st, Shakir took a 7 a.m. Delta flight to Atlanta to spend Halloween with Michelle and the kids. He talked with super producer Shakir Stewart about new music and made plans to meet that following Monday. The meeting never happened. When Shakir took his children trick-or-treating that night with their nanny, he didn't have a bodyguard. But as he passed the Halloween decorations, he began to hallucinate. He reportedly said, why is this nigga on my heels? Every time I turn around, I see this nigga on my heels. Wow. According to Smacks, quote, he started tripping. I think he felt like somebody was there at the house. He was acting like somebody was after him. When Shakir returned home, he called his godbrother Herb Smith. The two had not talked in weeks, but Shakir told him he and his family were coming to spend the night. Herb, who lived over an hour away, suspected something was wrong. Once Shakir and his family made it to Herb's house, Michelle asked Herb to talk to Shakir. Shakir seemed to have calmed down by the time they went to bed around 3 a.m. As they prepared to leave Herb's house later in the morning, November 1st, Shakir asked Michelle where were they going. Michelle answered, we're going home. Shakir screamed, we can't go home. Michelle texted Max that Shakir was having a nervous breakdown. She then called Herb and asked him to come to their home in Marietta. When Herb arrived at the house, he described the mood as eerie and suggested they turn on music to change the mood. Shakir paced back and forth between the kitchen and master bedroom as Michelle and Herb followed him. They asked him what was going on, but he gave no answers. Herb said, quote, he couldn't get no words out. He was just frozen. Every car that passed by, he would jump, but he never physically said that.
You guys know what? I'm sorry to stop it again, but I wish I could have queued this up. You guys, anybody know who Sloan Bella is?
Yep.
Sloan Bella did a live. Yep. But she was talking about Diddy and how she said that the elites or the people in the spiritual world or whatever were going to shut him up. He's going to want to speak but can't speak. It's a ritualistic thing that they do, and they it's like they sew your mouth shut. I'm wondering, is that what these people did to Shakir?
I'm sure that's what they did. I'm sure that I'm sure that's what they did. And then somebody was saying that even this whole Diddy stuff, even though the Rico stuff ain't rolling out just yet, or people are not seeing it just yet, this is more likely a humiliation ritual for him. So because it's like, are you gonna talk type of deal? You get what I'm saying?
Right. When she did the reading on Diddy, she was like, they're gonna shut his mouth. He won't be able to speak. He won't be able to say anything. So to me, this is the same type of ritual that they probably did on Shakir, and there was something on his heels. In the spiritual world, he could see it. He can feel it. That's why he kept saying, I sold my soul to the devil. Because there was really an entity after him, in my opinion, allegedly.
Kind of
And
like
that
Lisa
entity
left
shut
by
him up.
Lopez.
Whatever that he was trying to tell, yeah, yep, exactly, Jay. Bingo. Bingo.
And they were
The
both
spiritual
connected
world
to L.A.
is
Reid, right?
just as real. Absolutely. We're going to get to her in this series of Hip Hop is a Graveyard as well. After this one, we need to do Chris Lighty because their demise is similar, right? Ooey sides. But we're going to get to left eye. There's so many people in this industry. When Jag and Odell came up with the Hip Hop is a Graveyard, brilliant. Brilliant. Because that's what it is.
Salute to Mike Lighty.
Somebody was outside. While Shakir was unraveling, Ted Lucas, founder of Slip and Slide Records, sent Shakir an encouraging text. Ted said, quote, I sent him a scripture from Proverbs about being a true friend. God just put it on my heart to send it to him that day. Shakir was checking his 2 Blackberries obsessively. There was one message in particular he kept staring at. Fearing someone was threatening Shakir, Herb snatched the phone from Shakir to see what was going on. But it was simply an email that read, Hi, Mr. Stewart. I have a talented individual that you and Mr. Reed may be interested in. Michelle was at a loss about Shakir's behavior, but she was able to convince him to go with her to get a massage. She said he often relied on holistic treatments to handle stress. Shakir took a shower and Michelle helped him get dressed in their master bedroom. But just as quickly as he seemed to stabilize, Shakir started to melt down again. He stared out the window and started to hyperventilate.
Yes,
Suddenly, he told Herb and Michelle they needed to leave the house. Herb called Shakir's personal bodyguard Big John, but Shakir became incensed, saying, That's not Big John. Herb handed him the phone with Big John on the line, but Shakir threw it back at him. Shakir told Herb to go home to his wife and children and began pushing him. Shakir said, Herb, you need to leave, man. Go home. Go home. Herb said, Man, I can't leave you like this. Shakir returned to the kitchen and began to sob. Herb said, quote, he was hugging me in the kitchen, holding on to me. His son Sebastian saw that and started crying. The nanny took the children downstairs to the basement while Michelle secretly called 911. She then handed the phone to Herb, who went outside to speak with the operator. Shakir, wearing a sweatshirt, jeans, and no shoes, went back to the master bedroom while Michelle apparently remained in the kitchen. While Herb was outside talking to the 911 operator, he heard a shot ring out. He rushed into the house as a second shot rang out. Herb found Shakir on the master bathroom floor, mortally wounded, choking on his own blood. Herb said, I ran in there and started shaking his leg. Shakir was taken to Kennestone Hospital, where he later passed away at the age of 34. According to the Cobb County Department of Public Safety report, the home showed no signs of forced entry or foul play. Law enforcement determined the weapon used was one of 2 kept in the home. They stated the first shot, which hit the tile floor, was what law enforcement calls a confidence shot, and the second shot caused the mortal wound. According to Cobb County officers, based on...
Let's stop right there. They said it was 2 shots in the bathroom. I don't know of any stories related to Uyside that were 2 shots. They said 1 shot was to the ground, and it was labeled a confidence shot. Y'all, I can't find nothing labeled a confidence shot. Why would somebody aim a gun to the floor and shoot it and then shoot themselves? To me, it's like a rookie. It sounds like a rookie that didn't know how to shoot a gun. Tried to shoot him, missed, hit the floor, but hit him the second time. I ain't never, y'all. I don't know a lot about this topic. And if you are going through anything regarding to where you want to harm yourself, there is a hotline out there. One of my moderators, can you please post the hotline? But you
Did he
taking a
have
practice
gunpowder on
shot
his
on the
hands?
floor just don't make no goddamn sense.
Well,
We don't
you
know
got to
because they
look.
already said that.
They ran this play again with a guy named Gary Webb who wrote a book or wrote a bunch of articles
Mhm.
called the Dark Alliance, where he was exposing the CIA connection to the crack epidemic, and he ended up mysteriously so-called unaliving himself, and he pow himself twice in the head. So I mean, but that's come on, they yeah.
Yeah, basically impossible, right, Dale? Dale? Basically impossible,
Yep.
right? They shut the man's mouth spiritually. They had him stalked with a demon spiritually, and they had this spirit entity take him out. I'm coming, Jag. I'm gonna send it right now. Come on. Shot to the floor. I ain't never heard somebody take a practice shot. Let me see. Let's wait. Let me see if the one in the chamber works. Boom. Oh, it works. Boom. They must think we stupid. That was
Yeah. Did
somebody
he
else.
did he have gunpowder on his hands?
You know what?
Did
Remember
they?
what the family said? They said that the police did a poor ass job at the investigations. They didn't even check.
Mm,
Hey, Jag, welcome. Let's get your wisdom.
that's good, Queen.
Hey, um, you know, when I listen to these stories, and it's part of the reason why I wanted to fall back a little bit and just listen again, because I remember, and the truth is his death was very traumatizing for a lot of us that were in the business. Um, but the description of not being able to speak, not being sewed shut, I'm very familiar with it because it happened to me.
Wow.
I
Wow.
barely talk
What?
for uh, 4 months.
Man. Wow.
It's
Yeah,
I should have grabbed
it's
that click, Jab.
ritualistic.
Hmm.
I remember her
It's
saying that.
ritualistic. It is what it is. Um, but it is witchcraft. It is witchcraft.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the thing is the one part of the story as I listen now and I really think about it, it's kind of pissing me off that I never considered it before. You know, a lot of these guys, a lot of the women in their life,
Okay, Jack. It's
you
okay.
know, they work with they work with the people at the companies. Like I'm sitting there listening. She seemed to know all of his work associates. She knew who to call, when to call.
Yes,
It's
yes,
also sounding like he could have possibly been being drugged as well.
yes. Hmm.
And if he was being drugged, slipping stuff into his food, slipping stuff into his drink, slipping stuff into his water, women can do that. They have the ability to do that.
Yes,
And like you said, he didn't marry her.
yes.
Better to be the sole whatever of a whatever rather than having to go and fight in child support court while he marries somebody else. I
Agreed.
don't know if anybody ever really looked at her because what it sounds like to me is she was in on it.
Her behavior was odd, Jack. Just keep listening.
She was,
Odd
it just,
behavior.
that's exactly how it sounds to me. She was in on it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
those two shots, a confidence shot, that's, you know, they say that the person, they're nervous, so they shoot the gun to get the courage, and then they put it to their head to do it. You would have to see the ballistic reports. You would have to see where all of that. And this is the thing. At that time, Diddy had that mansion not far from there. That one that's abandoned now.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't far from there. And the truth is, Diddy was the bad boy in LA Reid and them. All of them, ah,
Amen,
what it
Jay.
really sounds like to me is that they realized that Shakir wasn't going to be the guy they wanted him to be.
Yes,
And they
ma'am.
figured out a way to move him around.
Yes, ma'am. I agree 100%.
Yo,
I mean, somebody could have came into the house. I find it funny that everyone was so worried about his mind state, and yet they left him alone in the house where they knew there were firearms present, and nobody bothered to check.
Yes.
To be that worried,
Exactly.
anybody could have just been there in the house waiting. For whatever reason, he didn't want to be in that house. Something was telling him not to be in that house.
Yes. He was scared of that house. He said it was an entity there.
And maybe it wasn't an entity. Maybe it was just his baby mama.
Maybe it was, Jay. Maybe it was.
Maybe he really didn't want to believe that she was the one. They slipped out. That would have given somebody enough time to come in the house and be waiting in the house for them to get there. And he just so happens to be in the bathroom by himself while they're concerned for him. Enough to call 911.
Absolutely.
I wonder what the insurance policy on his life looked like and how much she collected.
Yes.
One thing for sure, she definitely got
Yes.
to keep the house.
Yep.
You'd be surprised how many women will do that.
Yes,
You'd
ma'am.
be surprised.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow. Just wow. I got something I want you guys to hear. It's another content creator
on the crime scene and timeline.
Hold on. Let me find the right one. Okay. It is another content creator who has something that was kind of a discrepancy on what this lady said. Let me get to that point. Hold on a second. Something interesting that he said. So let me stop sharing this one real quick. No, I'm putting the other one.
To keep tabs on her. And he was calling her like 50 or 60 times a day during that time. Kim was done with him after he got Sarah Chapman pregnant, who was Tupac's ex-girlfriend. Wow. Diddy was wild. They say Puff had Kim Porter's whole house wiretapped to control her life. Now, apparently he had heard a conversation between Kim Porter and Shakir had asked Kim how were his babies doing. And when Puff heard that, he was ready to kill Shakir because they also said that Shakir had got Kim Porter pregnant. They say Shakir had got Kim Porter pregnant according to Yuck Mouth from the Loonies, who is Shakir's cousin. So, the story goes, so with the whole Shakir and Puff beef, right? So the story goes, while waiting trial, Diddy was waiting trial for the club shooting, and he still ended up flying out to Italy for LA Reid's wedding. And after the ceremony, Diddy had went to Shakir's hotel room with some of his bodyguards. He confronted Shakir about talking to Kim Porter and saying he was the father of his babies because, like I said, he had Kim's phone tapped. He knew everything. He knew everything that was going on between them. And Shakir tried to explain to him that him and Kim was just friends and that he was just joking about the baby thing, trying to calm the situation down because he knew Diddy had bodyguards with him. But Shakir also told him that it was none of his business because he had left Kim Porter for Jennifer Lopez and other women. She was free to see who she wanted to see. But Diddy wasn't trying to hear that, and he ended up breaking a chair over his head. Wow. According to former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry, he said Diddy and his bodyguards confronted Shakir Stewart and attacked him in a hotel, hitting him with a chair, leaving him on the floor. And after that incident, they say Shakir was so afraid of Diddy and his bodyguards that he avoided going to work for weeks because he thought he might show up at his office and attack him again. And Shakir tried to keep quiet about the whole thing, but the people at the wedding started to think.
So, Jag, did you hear that part where he said that Kim Porter was pregnant?
Yep.
You still here?
I'm here.
That's the only. My God, nobody else said that.
Nobody else
really
would.
He's credible, though.
Nobody else would. That's the thing. The official story is going to be built by the people that would want to conceal it.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Whew. That's deep, guys. Let's get back into the story. We're almost done. We are almost done. Hip hop is a graveyard. Thanks for teaching us that, Jag.
Immediate, end quote. The toxicology report confirmed Shakir was not on antidepressants or illicit substances.
No drugs,
and he was not an alcoholic. It was ruled Shakir passed away by his own hand. Shakir's passing sent shockwaves throughout the industry. Through Def Jam, Michelle released a statement that read in part, quote, "Over the past several weeks, Shakir's behavior was inconsistent with the man we all know and love. As much as we all tried to help him, Shakir was in deep pain and largely suffering in silence. Please remember Shakir for who he was, a wonderful father, partner, son, and friend," end quote. While Shakir was in crisis, he gave a startling message. In a yet-to-be-released documentary Michelle did on Shakir's life, she says Shakir said he felt like he had sold his soul to the devil and no longer recognized himself in the mirror. A memorial service was held on November 7, 2008 at his alma mater Morehouse at the Martin Luther King Jr. International Chapel. The church was packed, with attendees wearing maroon ribbons. Fat Joe spoke, reading the biblical passage Matthew 6, 1-4. Neo sang, "It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday." Shakir's actual funeral was a small private service. Many have said L.A. Reid did not attend, but according to Michelle, he did. But L.A. sat in the back to himself and left after only a few minutes. Michelle and the children immediately started therapy as she and his friend Jaha Johnson worked on Shakir's estate. Despite being an astute businessman, Shakir.
Let's go.
That's exactly what
What
the
did you
Roots
say,
did
Jack?
when Malik B died. They went to the
Wow.
funeral, to the beginning of the processional, took the pictures, and didn't even go in for the service.
Guilt is how I look at that.
Boy, just a job well done and complete.
That right there, Jag, is when you came out. It was when I first heard you. That hurt you deeply. That hurt you. And you was done with the industry then. You was done. Yeah. Y'all remember that?
When it gets to the point, when it gets to the point where we can start sacrificing our brothers just for clothes, and cars, and pictures, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, you were done. and they took you being fed up with this industry and called you crazy, which that wasn't the fact. Real people can see what the fact was.
Well,
The
that's what they
fact
always
was,
do.
oh, absolutely. They don't even realize that they're the fake ones. They don't realize that they're the evil ones. They don't realize that they're the delusional ones
They don't
because they
care.
can't see the truth. They don't
They
care,
can't. They don't care. They can't
and
see
they're
past
blind.
what they want to see.
Right. And you know why? Because God has given them over to a reprobated mind.
That part.
According according to the word, right?
That part.
That part. That part, guys. So guys, we're
Hmm.
almost at the end of the video. So let's get back into it so we can get Jags and Odell's and Ms. Zach's end opinion.
Shakir's personal affairs were in disarray. According to friends, he passed away without an insurance policy for his children.
Wow.
A fund for donations benefiting Michaela and Sebastian was set.
How is that possible? So I think of the industry. I think I've heard many times that they have insurance policies on their employees, on the artists, but he didn't have one.
And the executives.
But I bet you 100%.
They have insurance
Yes.
policies on everybody. Everybody
Yes,
that you
I
get a
bet
policy. You get a policy. You get a policy.
And everybody get a policy. Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But it's facts because I believe what Jag says. I believe it because she was there. We were not. And these trolls, they were not there either. So just shut the fuck up, trolls. I'm sick of you.
Child, they barely here.
Up in lieu of flowers for his memorials.
What'd you say, Jag? What'd you say, Jag?
They barely here.
Amen. And definitely can't comprehend. Definitely can't.
Right.
The controversy around Shakir's passing muddied L.A. Reid's reputation. He first spoke of losing Shakir in the Vibe article, with many finding his responses to be flippant and callous. When asked if Shakir was under too much pressure as executive vice president of Def Jam, L.A. quipped, quote, "Do you know what it is, honey? More money. He didn't have more responsibilities or some issue he didn't know about or some more meetings. No, no, no. It was just, go find another Jeezy. Go find another Ross." In his book, he spoke of Shakir in a more tapered tone, saying about his passing, quote, "I never looked at Shakir the way I looked to Babyface. They'd occupied different roles and had done different things for me. But it wasn't until that moment that I realized how much he'd come to fill that role as my partner in crime. More than that, though, he was my best friend. I'm not fast to have friends. I don't open up to people. I don't tell people much about myself, and I don't ask much about them. I'm not sure I know how to be a good friend. But I was a friend to Shakir, and he was a friend to me. I never knew what happened, and how can you make sense of something like that anyway? Whatever his problems were, he kept them hidden from me. To this day, I miss him. The loss was devastating, the darkest point of my life. I couldn't go to work and stayed home day after day. Every 5 minutes or so, I break down crying. I was effed up, confused, angry. Then I started hearing word that
Effed up, confused, angry because you're guilty. That's called a guilty conscience, L.A. Reid. You effed up, confused, angry because you took this man's job. You made him allegedly give up something allegedly that was sacred to him, which is his backside, his chakra, his back chakra, in order to even just keep and maintain his status. You were so ashamed that
he
you
had already worked
go to the
for.
funeral. You sat in the
But
back.
that's what they do. They make
Say
you
that,
work,
Jack.
and they make you
Say
work,
it,
and
Jack.
they make you work, and they make you work. And then when it's time for you to get what you're supposed to, they snatch it away from you and tell you got to work a little harder. You got to work a little harder. You got to work a little harder. And then when they finally get you all the way confused, that's when they hit you with the unthinkable, the this, the that.
Yes.
And then you have no choice because you've already come too far.
Yes. And you have
It's
a
cool.
status, right?
Hmm.
Right? Earlier
Mhm.
in the video, they explained the house that the glamorous house that he bought, right? The glamorous house he bought. He had to maintain that. He had
Yeah.
children.
And guess
He
what?
had
You work all the way up to that. Did you hear what he said? LA told him the house that he needed to buy, the things that he needed to, how to fit into society, how to make all of that work. See? He told, see, because that's what they do. You know, when people are sitting here talking about Cassie and all of them and talking about all of these girls and all of this stuff that's going on, they're not telling the part of the story where they have people like Mary J. Blige, people like Faith Evans, people like Patti
yes,
LaBelle, people like Little Kim sitting around telling you this is how it's done. This is what you have to do. This is how it works. You better be glad they're at least giving you a chance. If I was you,
preach
I'd do it.
that.
You're not going to get a better opportunity. And everyone around you is saying it. Everyone around you is saying that that's how this works. That's what this is done. See, they're sitting there in the courtroom and they're listening to all these terrible stories, but they're not listening to all of the coaching and all of the
Preach that.
grooming and all of the
Yes,
things that happened in between. And meanwhile, you were rehearsing and you wanted that part, but the girl that got the part was the girl that laid down. And
yes.
then you keep on and you keep on. And then, you know, the story that Capricorn was telling about how Diddy called Cassie out one day when her and Lauren was over there, and he sat there and treated her like coming to America and did everything. Bark, roll over, lay down, and Cassie did it all. And then he told her, go away. And then he
I
looked at him
remember
and
that.
said, that's why y'all don't have no man. Lauren London got
Mm.
herself a man after that. She got Nipsey Hussle, didn't she?
And then took him out. Allegedly. Allegedly. But
I'm
we know the
telling you
real
right
Jazz.
now, the way they use these women, the way they use them, the way they use them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for your wisdom, Jazz. Let's get back into it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
People were pointing their fingers at me because they said I put too much pressure on him. That made me angry for an entirely different set of reasons. I had just lost my best friend. My company had lost a superstar executive. The industry had lost a leader, and his two children had lost their father. LA managed grief by throwing himself into work.
Jag, there's two of you on the stage.
I
Which
know
one
you
are you?
gotta get rid of the white dress.
Gotcha. There we are.
There we
We
go.
got it.
Work, namely focusing on Justin Bieber, who was signed right before Shakir passed. Shakir's influence and creative methodology was a part of Justin's 2010 debut album, My World 2.0. Justin even acknowledged Shakir in the album Thank Yous and partially dedicated the album in his honor.
Justice
Shakir
for
was
Justin
posthumously
Bieber, too,
inducted
y'all.
into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame in 2009. His children, fiancée Michelle, mother Portia, and Kenneth, the father who raised him, attended. Michelle stealing the show. But it was another beautiful moment gone awry. The family went backstage, but their mics were still hot. An argument broke out amongst them with one of the female relatives yelling, "Get the F off me, don't touch me." The argument was audible for the audience and viewers at home. Shakir's artists grieved him heavily. Jeezy said, "You see somebody with such a great spirit and you never know what they're going through." As much ish as me and Shakir talked about, I felt if I had took the time to talk to him more about what was going on personally, maybe I could have understood the chain of events. Sometimes we lose great people. He was a confidant, a friend, and he was out here on the front line with me. Any project I ever do, I still give Shakir an executive producer credit. He didn't seem like an executive. He seemed like your brother, end quote. In Rick Ross's memoir, Hurricanes, he wrote,
He's fruity as hell. Jonathan Otti done told us who you are, Rick Ross. You fruity as hell.
Look at him.
I can't even look at you.
Look at that. Look, you want to know what I want to know? How did Tia Kemp spend all that time looking at him?
She got new teeth. I guess that's what that was. I don't know. She showed them mugs all the time. That's Tia Kemp. Your name is Rick Floss. Rick Floss, because you floss with Tootsie Rolls from this day on. Rick Floss, not Rick Ross. You're fruity, we already know. Goddamn shame, ain't it, Jay? Goddamn shame.
Well, they do what they do.
I couldn't believe it, and I didn't know what to believe. There were so many crazy rumors going around that Shakir had been unalived, that he had been living a double life. It effed me up. With Shakir gone, I didn't know what my future at Def Jam would look like. As much as I liked and respected L.A. Reid, his support and guidance was never hands-on like Shakir's was. Shakir had been the glue that held everything together. He was the best A&R I ever worked with. He had a rare gift of being able to connect the sound of the streets with the mainstream. That wasn't going to be easy to replace, end quote. Shakir Stewart's name is re-emerging to the public as Sean Diddy Combs, and to a lesser extent, L.A. Reid, find their legacies in peril. Clearly, Shakir's family and friends have more they want to say, but who knows what other developments might lie ahead. But Shakir's legacy in music is one that should have never gotten lost in the abyss of celebrity conspiracy. Although he left at only 34, people around the world are still moving to something he had a hand in creating. And in an era where the position of A&R was golden, he might still be the best from his generation to do it.
In 2008, Shakir Stewart would replace Jay-Z as the executive vice.
Go ahead, Jack. Speak
No,
your wisdom.
no, I was just saying he was the best. The truth is,
absolutely
Jay-Z and Diddy and them didn't want him around because they could never be the kind of executive that he was, and him being around made them look as inept as they were.
Swear to
He
God,
was moved out of
he was
moved out of the way for the agenda. He was moved out of the way for the agenda.
I agree. His resume of every hit group or artist in the 90s, in the
Jay-Z doesn't even have that record as an artist, let alone an executive.
Shakir Stewart.
And the funny thing is most of the acts that all of these people have built their resumes on were all people that Shakir discovered, cultivated. They literally were able to ride his coattails after he died.
Shakir was a true like A&R. They don't even have A&Rs in the industry like that no more, right, Jack?
No, not at all. You know, if I was someone who was still in the business, I would probably be a great A&R. You know,
Oh no, well, you're gonna be cruelty free's A&R for sure.
But the thing is it's wild because, see, they don't really have talented people anymore. What Shakir's great gift was spotting talent and knowing how to place it in a pop culture setting so that you could market it. He was literally a one-stop shop at finding an artist, finding a hit record, and creating just hits, and with everything going on. He literally showed up everyone that was around.
I agree. He found Bad Breath Bay in her banjo, who forgot to bring her banjo. So you're absolutely 100% right. Yes, ma'am. So, guys, we're coming up on the end of the video. So now we're going to be able to really get into the feedback and the commentary and the wisdom of Jag and Odell, whoever else wants to give any commentary.
Well, I'm going to let Odell run it because honestly,
president of Def Jam Records. Before he accepted the position, he had the contract for 2 weeks before he signed.
I didn't hear you, babe.
Oh no, I was just gonna
Did you
say,
say
oh,
something?
I'm gonna let
Nope.
Odell run it.
Let
It
me
should be
run,
a
but
We
I'm
got
sorry.
what
I'm over here talking to my cousin about like we old niggas now, prostate cancer and shit. So we got I'm over
oh
here
my
talking about
God.
that. My bad. No, you already know I'm with family. I was just over here talking. But what you say, run what?
with it.
No, just the final
Bring
thoughts
it.
on this whole situation
Yeah.
Oh, I
Get
and
mean,
with
all
it.
that we've heard
West
today.
Side.
just in general, it's like you said, Jag, as far as like how they would have people around individuals like him who, because imagine he could have broke out and did his own thing. Like they keep you in a box or in a bubble purposely because,
Hmm.
especially a person like him, because he could be that outlier that could just be like, oh well, I'm gonna cut and do this, and that's
Do
part of the
you
reason why they
know
got
what
rid of him.
somebody, do you know what someone like him would have done to Bad Boy, long term and Def Jam if he had decided to start his own shop?
Exactly, and you
He would
see
have
what he was talking
destroyed
about
them.
with
He would have
Hip Hop
destroyed them and he
TV.
would have known. Yeah. Hip
Yeah,
Hop
like he was
TV,
already
that would
ahead
have
of the game. That was a game
exactly.
changer.
And guess what? He would have gotten in the way of the agenda of streaming because someone like Shakir Stewart, like he was saying, like the woman was just saying how he was talking about the decline in the business, downloads, killing money, all of that. He would have found a way to do exactly what Tory Lanez tried to do early on. You know, they wouldn't have been able to compete with that, and they wouldn't have been able to sell, the streaming and the 360 deals in that manner.
Not
It
at
wouldn't
all.
have happened.
Agreed. Agreed, guys. All right, y'all, family. We're coming up on the end, and at the end, we're gonna get
Yeah,
closing
that's a fact.
remarks. So I'm excited to hear what they got to say. Let's close it out.
Upon signing, he reportedly told people close to him that he felt like he made a deal with the devil. Previous to this position, Shakir was responsible for signing Sierra while he was with LaFace Records and Rick Ross and Young Jeezy while he was with Def Jam before becoming executive vice president. Before his death, it's noted that this new position brought him a lot of stress with the downturn in music sales not helping at all. Reportedly, L.A. Reid, the chairman of Island Def Jam at the time, had a 3-hour meeting with Shakir and would inform him that he no longer had his position. Before his death, Shakir is said to have been taking Ambien and was very paranoid about the feeling of people out to get him. Shakir would ultimately be found dead in his home after pulling the gun on himself. Was it because of the depression from his job, or was it the result of a messy love triangle? We may never truly know.
One thing for sure, they don't want us to know. That's one thing that is for sure. They don't want
I
us
agree
to
with that.
know.
I 100% with that. They don't. They don't. They really don't. That is 100%
All I want to say
facts
is that they
right
don't
there.
really care about us. That's my final thought. What about you?
It's your
Michael Jackson. Can't say it no better than that.
Easy E,
Hmm.
Tupac Shakur,
Yeah.
Biggie, right?
Lamont
DMX.
Coleman, DMX, Old Dirty
Mhm.
Bastard. The list.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Keep going, Jag. Roll call.
Oh, listen to me. Let
Heavy D.
somebody else take it. Let somebody else take it. Y'all say the names out
Craig
there.
Mack.
Hmm.
Craig Mack.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shakir Stewart.
Hmm.
Chris Lighty. Whitney Houston. Michael Jackson. Prince.
Hmm.
And so
Bernie
and
Mac.
so many other unknown or not as known people. I want to give a shout out to a brother. I think he was producing for my brothers and them. I told you my brother that they were on Gab Young. Easy Mo B did a little big record for him. And
Yeah.
there was a brother out of Chicago named Herb. dope producer, like really, really dope. And then one day, couple of years back, they're like, oh, he fell off of the roof. Like they
Hey,
made it seem, but he didn't fall off of no
oh,
roof.
I was making my
They
salmon before it went bad. I'm gonna have to
go
grab
ahead,
one and pull it aside.
go
Oh, I'm
ahead, go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh no,
Nah, I was just saying, people
no, I hear
people try
you.
to run with the fake accidents, like something happened to this person, and but he actually got tossed
Coolio.
off of a roof.
Coolio.
Yeah. Oh, Coolio as well. That whole and it was wild because when Coolio first started, right before he passed away, Coolio was talking about how they were tracking down his kids. They were putting his family in jeopardy. He was concerned about some things and he was talking about the agenda. And then the next thing you know, Coolio was gone.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Now Dwayne Wiggins is gone. And that's probably the
Wow.
only person that could have told us exactly what MC Hammer had to do with it.
Wow. Switch.
Because that was the word. Switch two. Switch two.
Left eye. Aaliyah.
Oh, God, man.
Come on. Luther Vandross. Come on, guys. Name them. Sam Cooke.
Hmm.
Name them.
The babies, Triple X Stacy on.
Oh my God.
Take
Oh,
off.
no. Take
Mo
off.
3.
Mo 3.
Nipsey Hussle.
King Von. Wow.
Gone way too soon. Way too soon.
Way too soon,
All of
Jay.
them.
Way
And
too
there's
soon,
more
said.
proof from D12.
Let's go way back to the beginning of hip hop. Scott
Jam
LaRock.
Master J.
Big L. Heavy D.
Hmm.
Wow.
It's funny. See, you guys hear these names and they hit you in the ways that they do. But most of these people I knew, spent time with. And I've been here watching them erase their memories for decades now.
Pimp C.
Ja.
Yes, ma'am.
There's just so many. There's so many.
Aaron
So
Carter.
many nearly forgotten. Huh. Mac Miller. Allegedly.
Yes, ma'am.
The
And let's
question
not forget
is,
the
what about the names that might be coming to the list? We ain't even thinking about that.
Yes, ma'am.
The people that they're
Angie
already
Stone.
preparing. Angie Stone.
Young Dolph. Young Dolph.
EMB Rock. They're just
PNB. Pop Smoke.
yeah. It just
Crazy
doesn't
work.
make any sense that all of this loss gets so easily overlooked, and all it takes is a trauma or a distraction.
Distraction, Jack. And the love of my life. Tupac Shakur.
You know, I'll never forget. I was talking to some friends one day a few years ago, and I said, if Pac was alive right now, do you think he'd be president? And everybody said, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jack.
Well, those are my final thoughts.
Those are mine too, guys. Anybody else? Miss Zach. In the biz Zach. You got anything to say?
I don't know why.
I can't hear you, bro. I can't hear
Stream
you,
y'all
Miss
keep
Zach.
kicking me out of the stream. You can't hear
They
me?
hating on us.
But
they hating on us.
You see what I'm saying?
But you in your blow.
It's crazy.
You in your blowout.
This
It's
ain't
in the
never
house.
happened like this.
It's all good. It's all good. You know, they always try to mess with somebody.
It ain't blowout.
If it ain't me, it's you.
blowout.
If it ain't you, it's Jag. And if it ain't Jag, it's Sat. They hate it. Hate the unity, right?
It's always something.
Well, you know, you got to
on it.
remember, if they're pushing that hard, they're doing it because they're afraid of what they see.
Interesting.
You know, I tend to remind myself of that every time I look at my enemies and
They
the
should
things
be
that they
afraid.
do and the stuff that they say. I realize that what they're doing out of fear. And if they're afraid of what I'm doing, and it's because I must be doing something right.
You got it.
Let's keep
You are
scaring
doing
them.
something right. That's why your last name is right.
I tell you,
God
it was
got
so
jokes,
unfair for
right?
me to get that name.
God
It
got
was
jokes.
so unfair for me to get that name because I
Wasn't
was
it
born of a man who demanded great integrity. I had no choice but to try to live up to it.
It's not unfair. He wanted people to know that we're made in his image.
Yeah.
We're made in God's image.
Yes, we are.
He got jokes too. He was the originator of the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure
Jaguar
is.
right is right. I'm just saying, that's my opinion.
Well, thank you, man. And guess what? I'm gonna let it rock.
We're gonna let it rock. We're gonna let it rock. And we're gonna see y'all next time. And the next time is gonna be about Chris Lighty, because it's only right to follow.
We need to
Shakir
know.
Stewart.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're right. I was just agreeing with you. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People need to know
right.
these stories so they don't forget.
Yes, ma'am. So our next segment of Hip Hop is a Graveyard is Chris Lighty, because their demise is so different. I mean, so similar.
Similar.
Very similar. Different players, very similar. So it's only right that we bring that to you next. Because hip hop is a graveyard. And again, shout out to Jag. Shout out to Odell for coming up with that saying, man. It's dope.
Thank you.
It's dope and very accurate. So that's why I brought her intro in to the beginning of this video, because her intro, the one you did about Mo 3, is the intro for Hip Hop is a Graveyard.
It's a graveyard, yeah.
I love y'all.
And I'm glad that you're doing all of this work. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie.
Hey, we appreciate you.
Listen, the thing what God told me, because I'm a shy person, I have a speech impediment. But when God told me to get up and do it, I said, okay, I'll do it, but you're going to have to teach me how to do this, because I don't know nothing about making videos. I don't know nothing about going live. I don't know nothing about speaking to people. He said, trust me. So I said, okay, I trust you. I'll do it. So this thing is going to get bigger, because this troll forum, for every troll, there's 100 folk that support Jag. They just need a space to express themselves.
Yep.
We got to provide that space as a community, as a family. Jag Nation, Jagarism, and Jag Country.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I love y'all. See y'all next time. In a couple of days, I got to make a video.
All right now.
Peace.
Peace.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again. Yeah. Now we are going. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Thanks for kicking in.